because I like when he's getting some. Sorry, I was getting a little chilly. I needed to grab something to put over my shoulders. So what should we do now, guys? I think that we should do some reacting today, I think. What do you guys think? Art and reaction? See how the picture is going? Or do you reckon we should play another game? If so, I don't know what I'd play. No, I did not beat Hollow Knight and you missed it. I got through the first thing in Got Home, but then I stopped. I finally beat the Nail Masters, but there's still the Nightmare Room and the other two things in God Home and the final thing in the Falls Arena. So there's 4 things left to go now. Yeah. I beat Oro and what's his face. So yeah. All that remains in Hollow Knight is the yeah. For things I might be practice. I could practice. Oh, I also forgot. There's also the Path of Pride. Path of Pain, I mean. I could have a crack at Path of Pain if you guys want to watch me suffer. Thank you, Mattis. I do appreciate that. So, reactions or Path of Pain? Reaction? Okay. I'll get out my pad then. Okay, Mattis. I'm glad you've got Puff. That can still put a smile on your face. You need a break from the Path of Pain? Well, I haven't actually played the Path of Pain for a couple of weeks now, but yeah. True. Very true. And everything is strobing. It is strobing cause I plugged in a new thing in magic. Everything is strobing cause I plugged it in. Well, at least something's going in around me. Sorry.
SpongeBob, Revenge of the
If
Flying
Koji's the
We're gonna play.
fool, I have something for him to fool around with? What do you mean by that, TMNT? Because he's already got someone to fool around with his thing. And no, it's not me. Don't worry about it. What do you mean? What do I mean by that? I don't think you very much cared who played with it. But sure. Well, I know you want to play with his thing, but all the same. I get the feeling he's busy using his thing as we speak. And not alone in the shower this time. Thank you. At least somebody still wants to play with me. Oh, like that. I see. You mean, don't get you wrong, but yeah. Oh.
Play today because yay nostalgia.
When we talk about SpongeBob games, Revenge of a Flying Dutchman is like the older brother who made mistakes in life so you didn't have to.
Nostalgia.
For games like Battle for Bikini Bottom to thrive. We'll put this one in the category of
yeah.
spooky because
But that's not that bad.
And oh my god, what has happened to SpongeBob's mouth? It's safe to say that this one has aged like milk.
Make sure you guys go and leave a like.
Gross.
7,000 likes in, we'll check out another SpongeBob game.
Yeah, but I'm sure he's not the only one that wants to play with us both. Or am I wrong?
Dude, my favorite erotica.
I like to picture Squidward in it. So many tentacles.
Okay, here
Oh,
we are.
no.
SpongeBob Bellant Pants.
SpongeBob, you don't look so good, dude.
What a silly dream. Mr. Krabs had to close.
No, Floofy only wants to play with Koji.
That it ever happen?
And there's SpongeBob's disgusting PS2 mouth.
Oh, SpongeBob.
Dude, this is like SpongeBob after a serious car accident.
Good morning, Gary.
I get that.
Wait till I tell you about my crazy dream where the Krusty Krab was closed and meow.
Yeah, Gary doesn't want to hear about your disgusting wet dreams, SpongeBob.
You're all good there, waking up.
I have to put you down, Gary. I have to put you down.
Then you can carry the stick to Gary and delight him.
I get to go and delight my snail with a fucking stick.
Now come on, boy.
Test your preferences. Fair enough.
Why does SpongeBob's body twist like that?
They didn't give him many bones, I think.
Damger, donut alpine, or Elsie. I wonder what that means.
Then SpongeBob's dyslexic.
I know.
Just what I always wanted.
But Koji's in a hotel room with her.
Why are his
So,
eyes moving like that?
and you know what happens in hotel rooms.
From my endless slumber. I'll have your eyes for appetizers.
It's the flying bellend.
Actually, I don't think I've stayed in a hotel and not gotten up to
He's
shenanigans.
got a copy of 50 Shades of Grey too.
It's very popular in Bikini Bottom, okay? It's a top seller.
Technically speaking, it was not me who found you. Gary's the one who dug you up.
Ooh, that's a relief. This little varmint looks like he can do 10 times the work.
Oh, no, not Gary. That's not what I meant.
Too late. My decision is made.
What use is a snail on a ship anyway? What is he gonna do for you?
I don't know. Clean the floors with his like spunk or whatever it is.
Oh,
that he has.
no.
Oh, what's on TV? Is this mine pool?
I hate those guys. All they do is talk about poop.
Is there anything in here? Did he drop any? Ah, there's coins.
Yeah, coins, dude. There's coins fucking everywhere after we karate chopped the chest.
Wait, how did they get inside barrels?
I don't know. I don't know.
How am I supposed to get that coin? I made it.
Nice. Yeah, you can float.
Your
you can
ex
float.
is the reason why you will never share a shower with someone ever
I get
again.
it.
I love how he has a diving board over top of his bed. Is that like a sex thing?
Yeah, that's his kinky diving board.
Oh no.
Sexshop.com.
Sexshop.com for all of your sex needs.
Here we are, bikini bottom. Oh.
Oh no.
Oh no. That
Okay,
sounds
Patrick,
horrid.
I'm gonna go this way.
Dude, this is so nostalgic. I haven't seen this game since 2003, probably.
Yeah, me neither. This music.
And I think it should have stayed in
bikini bottom,
2003.
this weird yellow jellyfish. Hello.
Oh god, I can't wait to see how Patrick looks in 3D space.
Oh.
What's up with his back? You see how there's like a pointy pit in his back? What's up with that?
Eh.
Can't get up there to fix the thingy, and I'm missing all my favorite shows. No, I'll cut off your nutsack and nail it to my door.
How about you stop being so lazy and just go up there yourself, dude? How did a barrel even get there? I see what you mean about his weird, like, back flap.
Yeah, dude, I don't know what's up with that.
It breathes.
I know.
So, do you guys want to see the picture and how it's looking?
So he can watch his show.
I'm gonna watch all the porn. Oh, and he shat out a bee.
Can you go in the Krusty Krab?
I can buy a Krabby Patty. Why is there so many jellyfish?
Yeah, dude, this is a serious problem. This needs to be sorted out. Oh, who the fuck is that?
Get rid of the thug in the Krusty Krab.
Oh my god, you killed him. You just murdered a man. SpongeBob is a fucking felon.
Slam the button near the Krusty Krab.
I mean, look at these
Yeah, I did it.
things.
Oh,
What does this do? Oh my god. Oh, those are the changing rooms, dude. I remember now.
I want to be Mermaid Man. I haven't unlocked it yet. Why are the menus in this game so crap? It looks like a Unity default menu.
Oh no, everything in this game looks really unpolished and for sure.
Swing net to catch jellyfish. Well, I best go and do that then.
I will abolish all jellyfish. I'm a killing machine. I was designed for this.
I was designed for murder. That's all I know. Got it. Oh.
How's it
SpongeBob.
look?
Holy shit, what's happening? He's being possessed by the devil.
Oh.
Oh my god, what the
Huh?
Is this inside of SpongeBob's brain?
Wait, what the fuck am I supposed to do here?
Can you
Oh
touch
my god,
them?
it's one of those stupid puzzle things. I
What,
hate
these?
This one's easy though. Look at this. All I have to do is move like 3 blocks.
Yeah, nice. Oh no,
Or
no,
this.
wrong one.
Oh wait, no, wrong one.
Or-
I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
It's this one.
This.
Then this one.
Nice.
Yeah, I did it. That's it. Now I know where the treasure is.
Oh, be careful, I drew a snatch.
Oh my god, we got a new outfit.
Oh, I found the treasure. There, it's right there. I don't need a stick to tell me. It's right here.
Find all the treasures to defeat the Dutchman.
Oh. It was his castle.
Love the eyes, love the
Hey, flying
boobs,
bellends.
the pattern in the dress, love the whole
It's time
thing.
to vote
Ah,
on the
thank you.
team you'd rather see on the channel.
Today we have Scooby-Doo, Night of 100 Frights.
What about my
Monster
armpits?
House.
How my
Let us
armpits
know in the
looking?
comments which you'd rather see.
Oh, and follow us on Twitter. We post sneak peeks to videos and other fun stuff.
I've asked you, little varmint. The time has come for you to join my ghostly crew.
Gary,
Love it though?
where are you,
Good.
boy? Gary, why did you take Gary?
And then there's
That's
these.
His mouth, what's happening? It's like off of his body.
Mm.
What is going on?
So I just
Not
took
my
out the
thing, but I
Oh,
would attempt
I found the
tickling
treasure.
them. I know! I'm really ticklish there!
We can just have our snail, please.
I promise I won't give it to Patrick to use.
Oh no, I did not need that in my brain.
Oh, Squidward.
Oh my god, it's Squidward, dude, just staring at you menacingly.
Oh, SpongeBob. Hello, SpongeBob. So
Yeah.
nice of you to finally join us.
Oh, his mouth
Don't
is the weirdest out of
Say
all the
target acquired. Don't say target acquired.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
I have to race Squidward, but he's not even
No,
trying.
it's not much of a race. Welcome to the Bikini Bottom
I need to work on Koji a little more, I
Comes
think.
racing around the corner. Squidward Squidward walks into a wall. Will Squidward make it past the slalom? Here he comes at record-breaking pace.
Oh, and he's onto the sand. He's onto the sand.
Because he doesn't really look very
Oh, he
anime-y.
made it onto the bridge.
Oh.
Incredible
I mean,
display there
I'm
from
nice and
Squidward
anime-y.
SpongeBob is barreling to the door. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Obviously, it's going to be Squidward. No, Squidward. No, he's gonna beat. He beat me.
I've got some difficult news to tell you. Business has been very slow lately, so I'm gonna shut down the Krusty Krab until it picks up again.
Oh no.
Like that'd ever happen.
That's not how business works.
Yeah. I think that's a terrible decision, Mr. Krabs.
Look at him just creeping there. What is he doing? I hope the government don't find me. They won't find me in here, no. Not if I shut down the Krusty Krab.
I'm going downtown to set things up. You take this bus ticket and meet me there as soon as you can.
Yep, that came right out of Mr. Krabs' ass. So we have to go
Uh-oh.
downtown and meet Mr. Krabs and do some deliveries, I guess.
I guess so.
Krusty Krab pizza
Is a pizza for you and me.
Just what exactly is your plan?
How
Krab?
do you guys like how I did my thighs?
Bob, if no one wants to leave home, then we bring the Krusty Krab to them.
I'm talking about Uber Eats, lad.
It's very popular, so watch out for rough characters who might try to take it from you.
Really, dude? There's gonna be people who are gonna rob Uber Eats delivery people.
They're gonna try and mug me for my Krabby Patty.
Okay, we gotta take it to 17 seashells.
He still looks like he fucked a phoenix.
This is Seashell Street. Look, you can see it on there.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, no, that guy, he stole my fucking Krabby Patty.
Oh, dude, look at the stinky sewer.
Oh, no. Can I go in?
Oh,
I died.
okay, you died. Don't go into the sewer. It's full of radioactive shit. It's Uber Eats Simulator, dude. It really quickly turned into Uber Eats Simulator.
Is that 14, 16, 15? Oh my god, there's jellyfish everywhere.
This place is an absolute nightmare. Why are we delivering here?
17.
How can I
17.
Nice.
fix
Yay,
Koji
I got
up?
a tip. $5. That was worth it.
Find the two workers who placed the order. Some of the other workers might try to take the food from you.
Why? Why don't they just order some themselves?
Why is everybody like the worst in Bikini Bottom?
Everyone's just trying to steal each other's food. It's not a great economy in Bikini Bottom right now. Which guy is the foreman?
I'm looking forward to my Monday stream.
Who's there?
Because on Monday I'm going to be doing my first ever art trade.
Oh, dude, hell yeah! He gave you a $10 tip. This
Where,
construction
um,
site doesn't look.
It doesn't look up to code.
Me and another VTuber, we do
really can't tell.
Let's just
draw
have
a draw picture for an hour, and then we switch, and then continue going for another hour, and then we switch
Cement going everywhere, dude.
and finish up. Or at least that's how I understand it's going to happen.
onto the ground. Hey, you gonna do something?
It should be
about
interesting
that?
though.
Stay away from me, Mermaid Man. This is what I wanted to dress up as.
I think it actually gives you a projectile too, if I remember.
Oh, a ball.
What's the name of the person I'm doing it with?
Kill Chad. You construction Chad.
He's like, why would you throw blue balls? Ugh.
Give me a second, I gotta check.
He's friendly. Ah, no, he's not.
Your first destination is 88 Albatross Avenue. I saw someone else who looked like a delivery boy.
Hitsu Kanako.
Be careful.
Why?
There's gang wars between the skip the dishes delivery people and the Uber Eats delivery people.
I've got 236 seconds.
Okay, where are we going? 88?
So yeah, that should be pretty interesting.
Oh dear God.
I've never done one of those before.
Wait. 88?
Oh,
my God, that's
that
it,
kind
that's
of
it. Go back.
reminds me
88's the one,
of
dude.
88's
Rubber
the
Ross
one.
video where they would
There you go.
Oh my God, the timer doesn't stop.
12, 8.
in Gartic Phone. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, we should all play Gartic Phone together sometime.
Jesus Christ. This is gonna be close,
Like,
folks.
all you guys and
4
me.
seconds to make one delivery. This is he's going
Could
for
be a
the
lot of
speed
fun.
Record 11 Seashell Street. I'm pretty sure they already ordered food today. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh my God. 12 seconds. Holy shit, dude.
8, 10, 12,
No.
9, 11.
That's 11.
Patrick!
Here's your food.
Holy shit. That was with like 1 second left.
You think you're the
Not
only
much
one
of
who
a
can
Gartic
deliver
Phone
food?
person. Ah, Scribbler and
And it's
Jackbox.
not my fault that
I
you
don't
stole
have
it.
Scribbler or
So if you'll
Jackbox
excuse
yet.
me,
I have played Jackbox like once, maybe twice, but
I've done nothing
yeah.
but help you.
SpongeBob Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. This is a classic, but definitely not the best SpongeBob game.
Yeah, it's a classic, but not for the right reasons.
See you guys in the next video.
We'll see you there.
Does anyone have a video for me? Oh, I have Jackbox 2 to 6. If you ever want to host a night for it, I would just need the screen share in Discord. Okay, cool. Good to know. I'm gonna play this one. Video here from Retro Rebound, because I was actually thinking of playing these games sometime soon. And then I'll play your video, TMNT. I don't actually even know whose video this is. I don't know if I've actually watched them before or anything. But I am considering playing the Fables. So, yeah. Again. That would probably be why he showed up in my recommendeds.
We're gonna see if we swish or rim out, and if we're uploading this, we swished, because, ladies and gentlemen, Fable is back. Is it really that good? You bet your butt it is, especially... I
enjoy Fable, and I was thinking of playing it again for you guys, but, turns out, apparently I don't have it on Xbox anymore, which is annoying.
Fable franchise, so much to celebrate about it, but you know what? You're probably looking at my shirt saying, wait, matches the background, where'd you get that? Allow me to tell you about today's sponsor. The following video is brought to you by Into the AM. Look at this,
because I really enjoy being a degenerate in Fable, because it's a kiddified version.
You're probably looking at this hoodie and you're thinking, whoa, look at that. Into the AM has got me covered.
They do?
So many different beautiful styles of t-shirts, from creative graphics that you're seeing here to even sleek and simple, depending on what you're trying to dress for. Those of you who have watched Retro Rebound for a long while know I have a strong appreciation for Japanese culture, and that's evident by
okay, Jade, I'll add you to the list. Yeah, I think Fable went off Game Pass a while ago. Yeah, which is really annoying, because I actually used to own them both.
I mean, y'all, need I say more? Look at that. Oh, man. Yeah, so, look, styling and profiling is the name of the game over at Into the AM, but I'm a stickler for materials. Like, if my shirt is coarse and rough, I immediately have been turned off by that. Like, I bought shirts online, I'm going,
I used to have all the discs, but then I switched from physical media to digital media, because I assumed Xbox was going to keep it. So now I'm going to have to buy it again.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description.
Which is a pity.
They are doing
but,
a
yeah.
free graphic tees for $60 offer, and then you get an additional 10% off.
It's really annoying.
Through my page, a little extra money saved. You help your boy out. So shout out to Into the AM for sponsoring today's video. Fable 1, I have
you prefer physical?
Many good memories with. We gotta start
well,
there.
I was moving from a single abode into a group abode, and there wasn't enough room for me to keep all my DVDs and video games. So, yeah.
At least these two have the same manual, but we'll start off with the OG, of course. You know how it rolls. So this box art is one of my favorites in gaming, because we're actually...
I had to switch it up because I'm going from a place where it was just me and one person into a group living situation.
A lot of game art nowadays
so
is just
yeah, I had to
in the middle. I'm talking about you, Cyberpunk,
lose it.
Doom, Fallout 4. The list goes
actually,
on.
the thought was that this image I'm currently working on would actually make a good T-shirt.
Really spoke to the essence of the video game. And can still be
that's
simple.
why I started working on it again. Also, I was curious to see how much I've grown.
Or a villain. And then you have the logo right here, so it can
in the year,
exactly what this game's going to be.
Because a year ago I was drawing this.
Now the back of the box says, for every choice, a consequence. Again, kind of feeding.
If I still had the physical media, it wouldn't do me any good, because my Xbox doesn't have discs. It doesn't have a disc tray anymore, so the physical media was pretty much useless.
Introducing Fable, an RPG action adventure unlike anything you ever dreamed of. It says evolve in real time, never the same game, and real reaction. So it's all about reactions, which is why, again, I appreciate nowadays the cover.
So I gotta get them, but my game budget for this month is going on Clem's birthday to have all the games required for that.
Is that it says lost chapters here. Meanwhile, with the original, It does not. That's the only difference there. Otherwise, everything on the inside's the same.
Oh, Lost
Back of the
Chapters
box
made all of the
is same
difference
as
with the
lovely.
first
This one's
one.
got a little old school GameStop sticker.
And in case you're wondering, yes, in the past, I indeed, actually did 100% every single Fable. I've done it.
There is one in here, which is everyone's least favorite, that I think has the best manual, funny enough. So we'll get to that. But here we go. This starts off with a word from the Guild Master.
Sorry about that. I had a thought and I want to check
The fact
it.
that you've been provided with the Book of the Guild means you must be one of the lucky few with enough potential to be invited here as a hero apprentice. Again, my favorite thing with these manuals, and you've seen it with Diablo 2, you're going to see it with an Indiana Jones video we're filming, is manuals that play with the themes of the game.
Sorry about that. I was
are the
loading
most
something up to
fun.
check it,
They always go
and
back
then,
to
yeah.
when you're sitting in that car on that ride home and all you got is this. You don't got your cell phones. It's all this, baby. And it's the longest 15-20 minute stretch of your life, and you get all the information and dive straight in. Now, Fable's very tutorial heavy, where you could just ignore the manual and still understand everything within the game, but a lot of games circumnavigated that type of tutorial stuff and just said, all right, you got this here, that's your tutorial, play ball. All right, so continuing on, you're going to appreciate a lot of the illustrations within here, even down to the controller.
Skip
Shout
that
out to the
video?
OG Xbox
Oh, okay.
controller, man. I
Are
remember
you
as a
sure?
kid, that thing was intimidatingly large. Like, I remember when they did the revision afterwards and they shrunk it down. I still have those, and I just, oh, what a godsend. I felt like I was a much better gamer at that point because I was so young at the time. But continuing on, we have in here all the breakdown of the UI you're going to see during combat, what each set of experience points are, and also all the contextual actions, the mini-map, just everything you're going to see on screen as you explore Albion. They have a map of the guild here, and they break down
Video won't
what
work?
the guild
Oh,
is as
no.
well, which I appreciate. I think maps and manuals are underrated. All of the facilities within the guild itself are also broken down at your leisure. And then this is the hero's apprenticeship. So they break down the 3 major skills that you can level up in, hence why they showed the experience before this. And then the way of the hero, of course, letting you be good or evil, and you gain experience of what happens there and how it changes your endings. They talk about gaining renown, which is effectively the way that people in Albion will view you. It's your level of fame, so to say, and as your renown rises, you're going to be able to earn more quests throughout this entire franchise.
And
So
get
it's
away
a
from the
really
chicken chasing
good
name.
flavor, I'd say, to pretty much experience and levels, where it plays very well into the themes of the game and makes the player more cooperative, right? Because it's like, oh, I want to go do this mission already towards the end of the game, but the game's like, you got to have more renown. So it kind of gates you off, but in an intelligent way that doesn't feel too restrictive. Again, it forces you to kind of play by the rules. And then we're almost at the end here. They talk about your inventory and what's within it and what you can buy and sell. I love, again, the illustration down here. Just a lot of effort, love, and care went into this. Very storybook-like. And here we are at the end. It says, Xbox Live Aware, take Fable beyond the box. So, yeah, promoting Xbox Live at this time. And then they're promoting things like, which is one of my favorite parts, you get Forza Motorsport, Halo 2, and Jade Empire, as well as Becky, which I feel like if that game was on an Xbox stage nowadays, people would faint because it feels like you never see these types of Japanese-style games on Xbox anymore. Meanwhile, there's still Fable Anniversary. This one still mimics the back of the box that you'll see here on this one. For every choice, a consequence. Same thing here on the original. Except it says below it, fully remastered with HD visuals and audio, Fable Anniversary is a stunning rendition of the original game that will delight faithful fans and new players alike. Imagine a world where every choice and action determines what you become, where you evolve in real time based on every little thing you do. I remember when I was in a rut, if you will, I was picking up a lot of bad games and they were all not panning out for me. So my dad introduced me to a video game review website known as IGN.
I don't want to
And it
send
was
any
there I
videos
found out
today.
about
Okay,
things
Mattis,
like
that's
Star
perfectly
Wars
fine.
Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, and one of them
You only
was
share if you want to
one
share.
of my favorites, Fable. And that first time you fire it up and you're in Oakville, you just don't know about the magic that's about to hit you.
That is
How
true.
special this game is. Fable 1 is my favorite of the entire trilogy, not even because of nostalgia. Because as a little kid, I didn't beat it. I moved on to Star Wars, actually. It's because of the choice structure and how it's always reflecting that choice progression throughout the entire game. Whether it's how your character looks, you know, he transforms. If he's going evil, he looks like a devil. If he's going good guy and more heroic, he's looking like an angel. It's not just that little incremental bits of detail. For example, playing as a bad guy in Fable is some of the
Your
most
browser
fun
crashed,
that you can
so
have in a
oh,
video game. I kid you not.
didn't hear if you did
Especially
or not. Oh, okay,
in Fable: The Lost Chapters, I know is
fair enough.
nasty
I
platinum
did skip
hits,
it,
but
and I
this is
understand.
the only place you can get all of the additional content,
Yeah?
which is then remastered here.
I didn't
in
know they
Fable
did that.
Anniversary, But Fable Lost Chapters adds this whole epilogue to the game, and I'll just put it this way: everyone you meet, you can kill, but the way you kill them isn't forced. It makes so much sense. It's such a natural weaving of the tale. And the reason I appreciate that so much is what Fable 1 does better than most RPGs, and especially the entire trilogy, is it manages to interweave this natural backstory to your character while still making it feel like it's me and I have agency over this playthrough, and that you haven't put too much of a template on me and stripped away my characterization. I just love how this game tells its story and the choices that you get to make. Because what happens is you'll go to like a war table of sorts in the Heroes Guild, and you'll pick out a bunch of missions. So one example of this is you can choose to attack a nearby farm or you can defend it. And based off that, a cutscene afterward with Whisper will play out a bit differently. And of course, you'll get different points and payouts based off of that. And so it's just always reacting to those decisions. But it's also, yes, the establishment of what would become Fable, right? The plucky, whimsical music. It's a thing of beauty, right? But one thing that Fable 1 does struggle with that I can't quite get over is, unfortunately, the combat. The combat in Fable 1 is serviceable, and for its time, I think great might be a little bit extreme, but certainly when it first came out, it was not an issue at all. We were still figuring out action games. They were still fairly limited, and for all of its RPG systems, the fact that it was a competent, enjoyable action game was plenty for us.
Okay.
Nowadays, yeah, it definitely feels weak, especially in points like when you go to the arena and you gotta fight waves and waves and waves and waves of enemies. It can leave you a wee bit flustered, but only because
I like it.
the enemies are a little spongy, there's a limited move set, you start to spam magic, a problem that progresses throughout the series. We'll talk about which one goes a little egregious with that, but it starts to lose its luster a bit, and you're really there for the story. What's most impressive, though, about that story as well is not even just the choice, but that Jack of Blades is such a great villain, yet this world and the approach to it all is so whimsical and funny. Like, I hate to sound so immature, but I mean, you already know that's how I roll anyway. One of my favorite things in the Oddworld games was to rip a little ass on some of my fellow Mudokons. And in this game, Fable, you can rip some ass on people. And to me, as a kid,
yeah, I love that. That is one of the things I love so much about Fable.
I probably still kind of believe that. I won't lie to you all. And so when you have
I love
a game
it.
that lets you do that, but then you have a very compelling villain in Jack of Blades and a personal connection to this villain arc, it's got.
I was actually really sad when they stopped making Fable games.
Nails it from top to bottom, but it's also that sense of time progressing that Fable as a series really nails. Even up to 3, it just gets right. Because in Fable 1, you start off as your childhood, and then you move into apprenticeship at the Heroes Guild, and then into adulthood where you start taking on missions. Whereas the same thing kind of happens in Fable 2. You start off as a kid, and you move up into your adulthood a little bit more into the game, and so on and so forth. Whereas with something like Fable 3, you already start off a little bit later in the game, and there are these random weird time skips.
Yeah, there are.
But point being is the
Like
game
when you're in the
series
prison,
always
oh my
goes
boy.
through the passage of time because it allows
Oh
the growth
my
and
god,
development
what
of
they
the
do to you in the
be
prison.
properly reflected, but Fable 1 lets you establish that connection to your character while moving your choices forward in meaningful ways. So between that and also the builds that you can do, I mean, you can be a strength melee build, a ranged weapon build, a magic build. The that was there for a game of its time was truly incredible. And then it's also a decent action game. Serviceable maybe would be the better word. It's just such an impressive game.
I really enjoyed the mechanics of the Fable games. That's why I want to play them again. But I gotta buy them the long way, the hard way, the rough way. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Sorry about this, guys, but when you gotta go, you gotta go. And I got to go right now. I keep forgetting the original Xbox had live. Yes, so do I, actually. So do I. I didn't have Xbox Live on the original Xbox, but I do forget that it had it. I'll be back. I have returned. Hey, how's it going? I got a bowl for my snacks. Yeah, I'll continue the video now. And now everyone else is back. Yay! Wait, you still have one more ad? But the time is up. No, those are my food scissors, sweetie. You can't eat everything I eat. Almonds aren't good for cats. Bow, 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 bow. ASDF movies. What ones are those? What is that an acronym for?
To this day, I love Fable 1 so much. One of the OG Xbox originals that really had us buying into that system.
Oh yeah.
Still fantastic to this day.
It slaps.
Now, let's take a look at Fable 2, starting off with the complete box experience, shall we? Fable 2, everybody's favorite. And again, that box art is just carrying over.
I love Fable 2. Fable 2 was what introduced me to it, and then I started playing the first one.
This one's a little kid versus probably the grown evil adult he can become, but this one just firebox art, right? And the back says, who will you become? Beginning as a penniless street urchin, your destiny is to become Albion's greatest hero, but will your power lie in kindness or cruelty? Choose your own path to glory and experience how those choices change you and the world forever. A new life, a unique adventure every time. It's all up to you, man or woman, good or evil, career and family, or just you and your faithful canine companion. Live life your way. Share the experience with dynamic co-op, and roads are for chumps. Explore the landscape.
Oh yeah, and this is the other artwork I'm working on at the moment.
Larger, the original Fable. There's just so many reasons why people adored this game more than the original. The combination of life sim elements and choices. It's
I mean,
all
look
there.
at
You're
this
gonna see it here
ass.
in the manual. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now for this one, it's still an amazing manual. Lots
So,
of great illustrations.
look at this
that you see
ass.
throughout. Just not necessarily my personal favorite. I think it's a little simple to the point. But what I think
You
is
remember
hilarious is
that
here,
picture?
the dog,
This
your
one?
Canine companion, it says, is so strongly bonded to you that his physical appearance changes to reflect your moral alignment.
It's a good ass. Look at it. It's really well drawn. Ah!
So that's what Fable's all about. Like, every little thing around you is just changing based off those choices. But you'll see here the UI again is broken down.
I mean, look at that ass. I did so well with this ass. I'm really proud of this ass.
Pretty unique compared to other manuals we've seen. But yeah, it's just gonna in text break down everything. The occasional illustration to represent what they're talking about. Like here, strength and the melee weapons that are attached to it, and then skill.
It does definitely have something to bounce back.
And then the weapons that are attached to it. And yes, will. And you see someone burning.
Hi there, Veg.
And all of the spells.
How you doing, Veggie?
Attached to it. They talk about
Having a
fast
good day?
travel and
I hope so.
Your waypoints, because this game's far more open. The little things you can discover, like
Thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it.
and so on. But here,
Thank you, Clem.
Lots of text, lots of text. Still a great looking manual, but not as flavorful. Working for a living, that was a big thing in the game. We'll talk about as well.
Hi.
See someone working.
I meant artistically, but also
in the
literally.
game. There are pub games that you can do, so lots of mini games.
Hi.
And then there's
Thank you
gambling
for
on
the
Xbox Live
head.
Arcade, which
Thank
was
you.
pretty cool for its time. And then they talk about where you'd spend the money you earn from working and gambling, and also the co-op gameplay that you'd see on the back of the box, how it works in Xbox Live. And then here,
What do you mean, what the fuck is the picture in the bottom right?
stuff, and then the
That's the art I'm working on at the moment.
more. Fable 2 leaves behind a lot of the choices that I love. There's still choices, by the way. It does a good job at walking the line, but it doesn't go as extreme as I really loved in Fable 1. Where again, in Fable 1, you can kill
It's supposed to be me
save
going
everyone,
into a
but
hot
it's just
spring.
The amount of choice diversity there is phenomenal. Whereas Fable 2 still has choices, like you can raid towns and
I'm not
people
naked.
and stuff. That's awesome.
I'm wearing a little
That's
bathing
great because that
thing.
reflects the store shops and the people that you can like marry,
No.
and give gifts to, and that's where it gets into the strengths of the game. Fable 2 really prides itself on life sim elements. So you can go into Bowerstone and you can buy all the businesses and start generating a lot of money, and then you can work.
But I'm
at
not.
blacksmith.
I'm not naked in
I
it.
just loved how many life sim things were there. Like when I bought this game in
Ah.
2012, I believe it was, which yes, I was a little late to this one. I gotta say, y'all, that Fable's low-key a Christmas series to me. Like Fable 2 and 3 especially, with the snow and everything. But Fable 2 is such a Christmas game for me because I bought it around that
I'm
time.
listening.
And I don't know if y'all understand what I'm saying when I mention a Christmas game, because sometimes a Christmas game is like that. It has Christmas levels or Christmas themes. And then there's Christmas games that you buy, and when you think of your older life was simple. You know, when you get those 2 weeks off of school, you got nothing.
I'm
going on.
listening. What is
A
it?
whole lot of Fable 2. I actually remember I got my appendix taken out that year, so I came home and cozied up with more Fable 2. So this game to me was just absolutely fantastic. It was a comfort game. It was a holiday game.
Ah,
It was really,
you got a
know,
girlfriend yesterday.
things that you can
Nice.
relate to. A game with
Congratulations.
a element. So
I'm
you
happy
were
for
collecting
you.
all this money, you'd buy jewelry and you'd gift it to people, and you could marry anyone you want. It was really, I think, a magnum opus type moment for Lionhead. We just didn't know it at the time because a lot of people were going, what could Fable 3 be like? We learned. We'll
Yes, you
talk about
can.
that. But Fable 2, man, I mean, while I wasn't as crazy about the story, I have to say that the world, the spacing, the puzzles, you know, with the little riddles you can solve at the demon doors, on top
Congratulations.
of the life sim elements, makes it such a treat. And I just hope that with a new Fable game, we get a melding of all that.
Look at
together.
my eyes,
Choices
though.
of one and the life sim elements of two. If you put those together, you have one of the best role-playing games ever as far as I'm concerned. And I love that the series has its own individual strengths, but now that we've had time to study, reflect, and learn what makes this series click, I just feel like it's time to put it all together with a new Fable game. And so that moves us into Fable 3. Let's take a look at the complete box experience and then get into it in a very positive manner, shall we? Surprise, surprise, my favorite here is Fable 3, and they say, not for resale. Joke's on you. I bought this from a reseller. All right.
Wait,
Back
what?
The box says, it's a revolution. Live the epic adventure of a revolutionary leader.
Then
Fight
eyes
alongside your
loom
people to
despite
seize the crown.
then eyes
Throughout
loom
your
despite
journey,
knowing.
the actions you take will change the world around you for good or ill. Who will you become?
It's okay.
The tyrant you rebelled against. Or live. This one is hilarious. You might get a kick out of this if you remember the Sanctuary. The action never stops. No long item lists or menus to take you.
I'm not
through the action.
surprised.
The options are obvious.
You like
The
vintage
decisions
games.
are up to you, which we all know how intrusive the Sanctuary was, how much it stretched out the gameplay. I'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
They talk about a new game every time as always, and of course you can play co-op with friends, and my weapon, my friend. Weapons evolve to reflect your action and choices. Your individual experiences create.
If I get 100 more
what you
points,
do, which
I
think
can
you
do
guys are
something.
pretty cool.
You can?
Yes, this is
Really?
the
What?
favorite manual of the three, and I think it's just because it plays the best into the respective title that it is. So you'll see here, right, this is the Book of Heroes once more, and it's got little notes here on the bottom from Jasper, which I like. Always like the little lore notes here. And it's the Rise of the Crown, so it kind of plays
That is
with you
true.
in where Albion is right now, when Albion is, I should say. Again, breaking down the actions of your dog, the road to rule. I just love how it's got like the stamp here at the top. You see Teresa here as well for the hero progress, which I am a big fan of. Controls, once more, I like that they decided, you know, let's not do all color for that one. Here, I love the blood is on the corner for the combat menu, and it kind of works because this game gets rid of the health bar.
It'll be in the
I
one
rant
by
about that as
oh.
well. And so it shrinks.
Thank you,
I
Vegito.
like that the blood's on the corner here. It seems like a nice touch, or maybe I'm just overreading it. It's possible. They break down the weapons, and they kind of have it almost on like a wanted board, which I thought was pretty cool. The Sanctuary itself, the bane of most players' existence, is described here. They walk you through the dressing room and all the different outfits.
Thank you for the head. That's nothing the book. I want to be in Haunted.
Things you're gonna find in Albion. They got the
Ja,
demon
ja.
doors here, gold and silver keys. Always a fan of those. And then they talk about what you'll spend your money on, jobs you can work. So a lot of stuff that you'll see.
Don't
from
do it
Fable,
because it doesn't work anymore.
interacting with the locals. And,
Don't do
this
talk
one
out
is
loud,
just
it doesn't
kinda
work
crazy
anymore.
Because this was a big deal in Fable 2, but this one broadcasted right in the manual. It says sex, safe or otherwise.
Oh, I
Whether you're
can.
married or not, it is possible to have sex with many of the people you meet on your travels for love or money. Prostitutes of both genders are relatively common in the seedier parts of Albion, should you be so inclined. You might consider using a condom. How, like, matter of fact they are. You might think about using it. And guess what? We got you covered. They did in Fable 2. They do here as well. They say, it's the only reliable way to avoid contracting the nasty sexually transmitted diseases that many people carry, and of course, to prevent pregnancy. Condoms are available from certain merchants. To have sex with a willing villager, press LT to hold hands, lead them to a bed. Continuing on, though, we got children and keeping your family happy and what you gotta do to do all of that. The multiplayer breakdown. And then
The multiplayer was cracked with that game.
And then that's the end of the manual. So yeah, Fable 3, for all my complaints about the game, great complete in box here. All right, so Fable 3 isn't as awful as the internet made it out to be years ago. I remember Angry
You just
Joe
don't get to see any of it.
making an iconic video now called 32 Reasons Why Fable 3 Sucks. And I remember in high school seeing that and being baffled, and he's got some fair points in there, but you know, there were people complaining that, like, even in his video he mentions it, like if you hit crates, nothing comes out of them. I think it's because this was a product of what I'd like to call the Molyneux effect. So Peter Molyneux has done a lot of great for the games industry, but he's really earned himself a reputation in his exit where he has oversold his products on pretty much saving the world. If you think of it, his game can do it, is how he would sell you to it. A little snake oil salesman-like. And so a lot of people were delivered a ton of promise with Fable 3. And while it is a good game, I would say, it is definitely underwhelming compared to the past 2 games. It holds on to a lot of the flaws of Fable 2, which is why you may be wondering, why is he so light on 2? To me, it's really hard to talk about 2 without getting into 3, so we're going to do that here. But it leaves all of the goods from 2 and 1 behind and just gives you, and a lot of tech issues with it. There's just a lot wrong with Fable 3, but I don't think it's a horrible game. But when you look at the original trilogy, it's definitely the most disappointing.
Really?
But
Wow, I had no idea.
Game, then I feel like a lot of people have nostalgia for this game and they think it's great, and I wouldn't wrong you for that, because I don't think, again, Fable 3 is awful. Just if you're coming to me and I'm, hey man, I want to get into Fable, it's the first 2, and then if you really love those, get into 3. So in Fable 3, you get to play as either a prince or a princess, and that's a really cool premise because, again, given the name of the game, the idea is like you are the center of this almost storybook, right? And so what a perfect fit. You're the prince of this kingdom, and you're immediately making choices like wiping some dude's contract on your butt, or yelling and scolding the cooking staff. But problem number 1,
I've done it.
Protagonist. There is
Awakener, I used to strip.
Series that's built off of choice that
I used to be a stripper.
With a voice protagonist. You cannot point me to one example. If it's pre-existing, sure, I'll hear
I
about
did
it. I think it's something like
pole dancing and table dancing and all of that.
But you cannot tell me
it was a lot of fun.
Series like Fable, for example, that had no voice protagonist, allowed you to insert yourself into the character's shoes, and that it got better when they added a voice protagonist because it limited the choices, it limited your characterization. Just, that was a bad decision into its own. Fallout 4 learned the same lesson. Just, if you're a established silent voice RPG,
it's not lore, it's just history.
Don't change. You don't get better that way, all right? It's just wasted budget in my eyes. Fable 3 carries over the combat of Fable 2, though. And Fable 2's combat was a significant improvement to 1 because Fable 2's combat was a little more free flow. The camera pulled.
I loved table dances. They were so much fun.
Served you well. And it was also full co-op, and so it worked well in that
True.
regard, even though it wasn't a true co-op game. So
Emotional damage!
So many meaningful steps forward. Fable 3 comes around, the co-op is still like, you're just here helping me out. You're not really part of the story. You're not really part of the experience. That was disappointing for a lot of folks. Fable 3 also didn't really evolve the combat in the right ways because a lot of people thought, okay,
that is true.
We're gonna try to make this more of an action game, right? But instead, what you got was a really, really easy video game. I mean, the magic is busted, and the AI is borderline broken, and they got rid of the health bar, and instead went full first-person shooter where the corners of your screen turn red and your health auto regens.
That was a bit weird.
RPG does that, man. That to me doesn't sound like the right thing to do at all. The auto regenning of health. And I think I can guess why. Fable 3, as I'm sure you could already tell for its time, dang, this game looks good. And especially with FPS boost, dang, this game runs well. So I think what the idea was is let's strip away the UI as much as possible and let's provide a more immersive Fable experience. I get what they were going for here on that level, if I'm right, but I just feel like it was ultimately a mistake. And as much as I want to love Fable 3, it just is technically hampered too. It's not as bad on Xbox Series X. I will say that in the game's defense.
Wait, really?
On the 360, you know, there was a loading screen for everything. There was a loading screen when you switched areas. There were loading screens when you paused the game and went to Sanctuary, where equipping a weapon or grabbing a gift was so tedious. It was insane, man. Again, I get the idea, but it should have never made it past designing the game.
Oh, that wasn't me scratching or anything. I was drawing. I was working on the picture.
It's going to be kind of annoying to do if you got to run around this interactive menu. We should just kind of try to evolve and fix the existing menus from Fable 1 and 2, right? Well, they didn't do that at all. So
Not that you can really see the
I just
difference
feel like
between
you're
the
left
tones
with
that
a
I'm working with
pretty
at the moment.
messy experience in Fable 3, despite it looking good, the combat feeling a lot better, the magic still being completely broken, and the combat not being fun at all, and the choices are, you know, I like the
You can see
idea
it more
of
with the
seeing
orange
over
and-
the map and looking over your kingdom, but there's just a loading screen for everything that it is cumbersome. But like I said, in its defense, you get to the Series X and the load screens are like that, and I think there are games that have longer loading screens still to this day, so I think it is permissible to this point.
Yeah.
But if you go into Fable 3
It is pretty
expecting
cute, isn't it?
Advance 2, you're going to be disappointed. If you go into Fable 3 thinking it's going to be more Fable, just of a lesser quality with some confusing design decisions, I think you'll enjoy yourself. But overall, is Fable that good? Yes, absolutely it is. It is such a treat. And while we're recording this on June 5th, by the way, if you're just curious on how we roll here on Retro Rebound and our guesswork, I hope it makes its way to PC, just because more people need to experience it, man. And the fact that it's not there, I know Fable 3 was and got pulled, but like it just needs to come back and let people experience this greatness. So anyway, those are just some thoughts on the Fable franchise and how wonderful
I don't
it is.
remember
I
that
look
being
forward
in
to
a
seeing
Fable
your
game.
thoughts down below. Do you love Fable as much as I? Let me know. Other than that, I will catch you in the next Retro Rebound. Peace out.
Hey y'all, Scott here. Have you seen something that looks like this?
No.
If you found that, that's me caring about the Nintendo 64. Please dispose of it immediately. I know, I'm putting these up and I just like the attention. Family photo. Oh god, that's embarrassing. That's bad. The Nintendo 64, one of the most revolutionary consoles.
Oh, you
of
got
all
him to
time.
death.
Standardized how games in the third dimension look, play, and control. Introduced so many genres,
Mm-hmm.
franchises, concepts, and I still don't give a shit. I'm being a bit harsh here. It's not that I don't like the Nintendo 64, I just don't care about it. This is not my favorite Nintendo console. It's not my least favorite, but this is one of the tougher ones to go back to for me. I totally understand its worth, and why to many this is their favorite, and I love so many of the things everybody else loves about this guy. But after I dug my grave, I decided to dig back into this system, look back at what gave it its groove, the games, the accessories, the innovation, the lack of Scott's giving. Everything that made the Nintendo 64 the Nintendo 64. I want to learn to love this console, because as it stands, it's alright. But that won't do. I have to appreciate everything Nintendo does for me. Criticism is just whining. Nintendo made buttons. What did you do, Dad? Well, let's go back to the beginning here, where everything precisely started. The mid-90s. Nintendo was king of the video game space. Their first two consoles, the Nintendo Entertainment System and Super Nintendo Entertainment System, both were at the top of the food chain in nearly every category. They had the best games, the best developers, the best sales. They were the video game company. There's a reason people would call any video game thing a Nintendo. It's like, wow, this is a calculator. However, as time went on, more and more competition started appearing. And not only that, they weren't complete laughingstocks. Pretty much most consoles that fought against the original NES, there's a reason I dug this grave deeper than usual. But with the SNES, Sega brought the big guns with their Genesis and ended up taking a lot of market share away from Nintendo, even surpassing them for a brief moment. And when Nintendo was working to create a CD add-on for the Super Nintendo, they worked with Sony on it, but canceled plans after re-evaluating their contract. This made Sony so mad they created a worldwide phenomenon out of spite. Basically, Sega was legitimately scaring Nintendo and
Yeah, they did.
and Sony was a promising up-and-coming rival. They were burned by Nintendo and wanted to make their own video game console. And this isn't even covering the dozens of other companies that tried. Nintendo couldn't just sit there and expect everybody to only want Nintendo products. Sega customers proved that not everybody was born a Nintendo diehard. So, they had to get to work on a successor to the Super Nintendo, and near the end of the console's life, it was pretty obvious where the video game industry was heading. Downhill! This console. 3D
Really?
graphics and gameplay
Wow.
was the next big thing. Games like Donkey Kong Country and Star Fox gave us a taste as to how 3D can change how games look and play. Of course, cramming all of this onto a Super Nintendo cartridge, while possible, it felt more like they were shoehorning these types of games on the system. For Donkey Kong Country, they would create 3D models of these characters and recreate them in the form of a 2D SNES sprite. That was one way to get 3D looking games on your Super Nintendo, but what if you didn't have to do that? What if the game console could create 3D visuals right from the get-go? Well, Nintendo partnered with Silicon Graphics to do such a thing, announcing their collaboration on Project Reality in 1993.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, Reality. At the time, these were the graphics dreams were made of. Like,
Really?
The ones shown off weren't too far off from full-blown computer animation. By 1994, the official name of Project Reality was revealed: the Nintendo Ultra 64, Nintendo's next home console. I love adjectives and numbers. I'm sold. If you think game companies trying to push how powerful their consoles are now is a bit much, they made the defining feature of this console's name a tech spec. It's like Sony naming their next PlayStation the PlayStation GDDR6. 64 refers to how this console was 64 bits. Mom, don't you care? Bits were the hot ticket item back then. It all boiled down to how many bits does your console have? The NES only had 8, but the Genesis had 16, but the Super Nintendo had 16 as well, and the Sega Saturn and PlayStation were 32, but just for good measure, Nintendo skipped all the way over to 64. Technically, Nintendo had a 32-bit system at the time, the Virtual Boy, and even that had the code name of VR32, showing how important bits were to marketing back then. I guarantee you, nobody who actively argued about how many bits their console was even knew what bits were. Hell, I don't even know, and I'm complaining about it. All people knew was the higher the number, the gooder the fun. And Nintendo wanted to flaunt just how powerful their system was by lodging
The
number that meant
gooder
absolutely nothing to
the
anybody
fun?
prior into their console's name. But they just couldn't help themselves and threw an Ultra in there as well. A couple months later,
The gooder.
in 94, the
That's the
console
choice
design
of
was
words.
revealed.
The gooder.
And it's functional. I have no idea what this looks like.
No, we don't talk about the
Nonetheless,
Virtual Boy.
The cartridge designs were also shown off here, with the most prominent feature being the fact they exist. This, right here, may have been one of Nintendo's biggest mistakes. By 1994, it was pretty obvious that CDs were the future of video games. They could store so much content, video and audio clips at great quality, and they were so cheap to produce. The Ultra 64 cartridges...
They just, you know, degrade really quickly.
Hold video and audio clips, and if they could, they were severely compressed and downgraded and cost a mortgage to produce. But they were harder to pirate and had faster load times. That makes them better. And ever since that decision, Nintendo's always been number 1, 2, 3, 1. Wii U. The Ultra 64 was consistently talked about for years, with a release by holiday 1995 plan. Eventually, they renamed it to just straight up Nintendo 64, which, yeah, Nintendo Ultra 64. You only really need one of those.
But
Even with
doesn't
console
the,
development, Nintendo delayed the
a Switch
system a handful
use
of times
cartridges?
before finally nailing a release in June 1996 in Japan, September 1996 in North America, and March 1997 everywhere else. 4 years after it was announced. Yeah, this console took a while to actually exist. And that was unfortunate because Sega and Sony had a 2-year head start. Their consoles released in 1994, but they weren't Nintendo. They were dog shit. Nintendo was fine with delaying their console and choosing to only use cartridges because they felt that people would choose to wait for an N64 instead of just buying a PlayStation. They sure didn't. To be fair, the Nintendo 64
I wouldn't know, I don't have one.
incredibly well throughout its launch window, doing better than the competition for a brief moment. But then, it happened. Nothing. The Nintendo 64 had numerous software droughts. Nintendo just couldn't pump games out fast enough for the system. Games were becoming harder to develop. This was the first generation where 3D
No
was
Mario
the
Kart for
norm.
Pirate,
It was
no.
understandable development times may have been longer. But see, that's where the other developers come in. When Nintendo's not releasing games, surely the third parties can fill the void. And we return to one of Nintendo's greatest...
I've got one on my throne,
The Sega
but
Saturn
yeah.
and PlayStation may have only been stinky-ass 32-bit systems, but they use CDs for their games. That meant the games would cost less and
I think I'll be
far more
paying for
information.
VR
With these
before I
systems
do a
having a 2-year head
Nintendo.
start on the N64, developers got used to having all that leg room.
Because I really want to play VR chat and make my own VR world.
Megabytes of all kinds of stuff. A Nintendo 64 cartridge at the most could fit 60.
Then we could all go hang out in the Pyromaniac world.
So, to third-party developers, would you rather develop for a system that's been out for 2 years with a good install base that uses CDs so you can make bigger games with not as many limitations, or would you rather f with Mario? So, yeah, the Nintendo 64 had third-party support, but not a lot of it. The biggest third-party games that released that generation, there was a really good chance they
I
didn't
actually
come
have
out
VR
on
chat.
Nintendo 64.
And there's an escape
Now it
room I
was
used to
Nintendo's
attempt
output of software
speed
more
run.
than
Oh,
usual.
okay.
The amount of third-party software was just not up to snuff with the competition. When Nintendo wasn't releasing a new game, there really wasn't anything else.
Yeah,
to play.
Quest
But
is
I
what
mean,
I
there
was thinking of
stuff to
getting as
play.
well.
There was stuff to
Quest
play.
2 looks pretty good, and
Computer at
Quest
64,
3 is due in
PlayStation sold over 100 million
October.
units. The Nintendo 64 coming in a distant second place with 32 million. It did better than the Sega Saturn, but that's something everybody can say about themselves. I think the lack of third-party support in some way made it so the people who owned a 64 felt a deeper connection to it than the PS1. And that console kind of felt like the console people would just buy by default. Yeah, it has the most games, it plays music CDs, I'll go with this. If you wanted an N64, you wanted an N64.
That is true.
You were willing to look past the issues because you really wanted to play the games. I just always see more people passionately talking about the Nintendo 64 in comparison to the PS1. Well, these are both
Thinking about saving for
loved
the
by
Steam.
people.
Wait, Steam has one?
Take 10 everybody played different
I look
PS1
for
games growing up.
one of the
They did
things
Sega
I
Man
really
64,
look forward to doing.
they all played
Ah,
Super Mario
Sandy!
Mario Kart 64, GoldenEye, Octopath.
Ankle monitors
I'm
as
not saying
well.
it's a good or bad thing,
Nice.
but I feel like the lack of a ton of software on Nintendo 64 in some ways helped bring more Nintendo fans
Well,
together.
in my research, I saw that the Quest works with pretty much every other bit of attachable software.
Connection I had with other Wii U owners. It was called a mutual hatred. So this is the Nintendo
Thank you,
64.
Sandy! Everyone share some love with the Sandy!
God, I'm allergic to fields. It was
Is
pretty much
that
tradition for Nintendo
20 years ago I became the luckiest man on earth because Michelle Obama agreed to marry me. And so I just want to wish
Thank you for the raid!
you happy
Awesome of
anniversary
you!
and let you know that a year from now we will not be celebrating it in front of 40 million people.
What are you gonna do with an N64? Take it for
Yeah,
a
4
walk?
years ago.
The system itself was standardized across the world. The design was the same as
House Arrest Training 101. What I like so much about the Quest is that it can be meshed with the other equipment, like the wristbands or the ankle bands and stuff for the other things.
There were so many variants out there. This is
So
one of
you
the
can
first
mix and
consoles that
match
really pushed
your
colors. But of course,
equipment,
the charcoal color was the de facto
and that I really do appreciate.
Oh, look, it's time to be confused about the Nintendo 64 controller. What the hell? Of course, with the system being so focused on delivering three-dimensional experiences, a simple 8-way directional pad wasn't gonna do. We needed full 360-degree views.
Nice. Stream was good. Stream was fun, I hope.
Joystick made for one thumb in all the directions in the world. Outside of this edition, most of the controller is fairly typical. The buttons and D-pad all feel fine, and while the layout is odd, it's functional. 3 grips is just flat out bizarre, though.
I hope you had fun.
Wrong way to hold this thing, though. There's really no Nintendo 64 game out there that would ask you to use the D-pad if you're already using the stick and A and B buttons. For 3D games, you hold the middle prong and right prong. For 2D games, left prong and right prong. For weird-ass games, left prong and middle prong. There's a trigger in the back of the middle prong here. These C buttons and port for all kinds of activities. It's not a terrible controller. It's just not great. The stick is sort of garbage feeling, and sure, no game asks you to have access to all these buttons at once, but isn't it weird that this controller makes sure you can't access all these buttons at once? Like, is there any good reason
I think it is pretty weird.
using the analog stick and A and B buttons? You just can't use the D-pad or L
Might be a
button?
grand, but
Regardless of
still,
wrong,
yeah.
the Nintendo 64 controller
As I said, the fact that the meta can mix with the other ones seems pretty good to me, because then I could get one thing for my arm trackers or even ankle trackers, like the Steam one, but put it with the headset of the other one, which is really nifty.
Just like the console controllers came in so many fun colors. Do I like this thing or not? Well, we gotta move on to the games, and Nintendo, the least you could have done when moving strictly to cartridges for the system was give them labels. I had to resort to buying fan-made ones on Etsy, and they're pretty fun. It
And
makes it
doesn't
exciting
Omega
buying a
overheat?
64 game. I get to use another sticker, even with the labels.
Possibly.
Their shape make them kind of a pain to store. Anyways, the Nintendo 64 launched with games here in North America, and 2 of them at that. Japan had it way better. They got 3 games alongside the system's release: Super Mario 64 and
I was just looking into it so I could make an educated decision, and I saw, hey, meta fucking mixes with other kinds. That's nifty.
The flagship title. The reason you wanted to buy a Nintendo 64 if Pilotwings was sold out. Popping this cartridge in and turning it on.
It's me, Mario. Hello.
Oh my god, he has a face? This right here helped show just how
And the fact that the
was. And this isn't even the game.
Meta 3, when it comes out, doesn't require that much room. That kind of makes it appealing too, because I don't have that much room in my bedroom.
Completely superfluous. It has nothing to do with the rest of the game. But it's here to show something that could not have been done on prior hardware, and it's just for fun. The game itself, what else is there to say? I mean, it's no Pilotwings 64, but it has its
Yeah, exactly.
64 may just be one of the greatest
It would be nice to have
not
fingers.
only showing why the N64 mattered, but what video games could be. 3D gaming was nothing new by the time this thing finally came out, but Mario 64 was the first to dream having this controllable camera system and these wide open worlds to explore and jump around in. Half the fun in Mario 64 is just running, jumping, doing whatever, wasting time. Some of my favorite memories with this game had nothing to do with completing the objectives. It was exploring Peach's castle, both on the outside and the inside.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you, Mattis.
About doing all these fun tricks. This was the perfect selling point for 3D gaming, showing how it wasn't a gimmick. It wasn't about graphics.
I really like the idea of designing my own world.
3D worlds are so much more immersive, and the kind of fun I have in Mario 64 just going around exploring, it couldn't be done in 2D. There were so many more variables here that let the player be creative. You don't just go left or right, you have 360 different directions you can go in. While there were objectives to complete and the actual game was incredibly
Each
fun,
Nintendo console
Mario 64
sales
gave you the tools to
actually
make
went
your own
down
world.
each generation.
As a
Really?
kid, it was a
Wow.
blast using my imagination with this game, coming up with crazy things to do, or just not do anything at all, just enjoying being in this world. This will always be one of the
That's fair.
greatest video games of all time. One of. Pilot Wings 64, a sequel to Pilot Wings, a launch title for the Super Nintendo. You know, it made sense to make this a launch title for the 64, as the original Pilot Wings was showing how the SNES could sort of kind of do pseudo 3D stuff. Now with 64, we have the real deal. There's not a ton to this one, different missions to complete with different flight vehicles. It's fairly basic, but a lot of fun comes from just flying around. It's enjoyable to just hover over these environments, and just like with Mario 64, it's fun to stray from the core objective and make your own fun. This launch was very quality over quantity oriented, which I guess was Nintendo's mentality throughout the 64's life.
Which is fair.
300 games were released here in North America, with less than 400 overall worldwide. That's still a decent
Oh,
number
wow.
of games, but comparing that to pretty much any other
Yeah, I don't enjoy that style of game at all.
going on here. Nintendo consistently had issues with game output, delaying games quite a bit, especially in 1997. Look at this lineup. These were the only games Nintendo published for the 64 in 1997. None of these are bad games, but when Tetrisphere is 17% of your game output, something's funky. And when we take a look at what Sony was publishing on the PlayStation in 97, yeah, issue alert. I mean, but when Nintendo released a good game, they released a good game.
Oh, yeah.
Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time was what many people were looking forward to, and it was basically another Mario 64 in terms of impact. Gone was the top-down perspective of 2D Zelda, and in came a third-person viewpoint in a
I quite like the 2D Zelda.
added dimension really helped to push the character story and universe of Ocarina of Time. It truly felt like you were on an adventure, and these characters were actual people. Ocarina revolutionized what adventure games were, and is still considered one of, if not the greatest game of all time. We're 3 for 3. Not only did we get one Zelda game, but 2 Zelda games for the system. Crazy considering not many games came out on
Oh,
the
wow.
64,
I didn't realize that.
2 games of series notorious for long wait times between entries. The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask was a very smart sequel, reusing assets in the foundation of Ocarina of Time and making something fairly unique in comparison. Doomsday is inevitable, and you have to do your general Zelda stuff before the time limit runs up, but you can manipulate time to your advantage. This, alongside the far darker tone, is what makes this game really stand out. And while it doesn't appeal to everybody,
What the shit was
fan
that?
base, and hey,
That looks so freaking cursed. What the hell?
that's not a bad deal. Majora did require the expansion pack, though, an accessory for the people who care too much. See, there's this door on the console, we remove it, and oh man, how could I forget to mention the jumper pack, my favorite. This comes standard with the console, and you need it inserted to have anything work, but we can remove it and replace it with an expansion pack for maximum better. Only 2 games straight up required it, as it gave the N64 more RAM to work with: Majora's Mask and Donkey Kong 64. Perfect Dark sort of needed it, but you could kind of play some parts of it without an expansion pack. A handful of games supported the accessory, but it was not required by any means for most. Hell, Donkey Kong 64 barely even required it. The only reason it needed it was to fix a game-breaking bug the developers had no idea how to fix otherwise. The only solution was to make the expansion pack mandatory, so it was bundled in with the game. Oh, Donkey Kong 64. It was really cool to see all these game series make the jump to 3D, even if it was Donkey Kong 64. This is a bloated mess of a game. I mean, overall it's alright, but man, there are just too
Really?
many collectibles.
Huh.
But hey, Donkey Kong in 3D, that's pretty neat.
I didn't have a
Seeing these
64.
characters and worlds from a brand new
Best I
perspective,
got was
maybe
a Super
none
Nintendo
rare
bought from a pawn shop.
definitive developers of the Nintendo 64.
Like,
Sure, they worked on the
so
Donkey
many
Kong
decades
game,
after it was
but
useful.
64 was
Like, before it was new.
their stride. I have no idea how they were able to pump out so many good games in such a small amount of time. Like, 3 of the 6 Nintendo 64 games Nintendo published in 1997 were developed by Rare. While they weren't owned by Nintendo, there was
Really?
a strong partnership with them at this time, leading to games like Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, 3D platformers not unlike Mario 64, but with their own flavor and spin. Conker's Bad Fur Day, a 3D platformer definitely unlike Mario 64, playing around with the concept of looking like a cutesy family-friendly game when in reality being out of church. And my god, they really knew how to use this hardware. Conker specifically included just a ton of voice acting cutscenes, which was
Console didn't age well?
you have some quirky one-offs.
Sorry to hear that.
Or all about vandalism. Jet Force Gemini, Mickey Speedway USA, Killer Instinct Gold. Oh my god. Sure, not all these games were 100% winners, but at the very least, they were fairly quality titles for the time. But then they decided to squirt out GoldenEye 007, a landmark game in history. Wherefore,
Yeah, I heard about that one.
how did this even happen? A movie licensed game
Yeah.
came out 2 years after the movie, ended up being a landmark title on home consoles, revolutionizing the first-person shooter, including one of the most cherished multiplayer modes of all time. It's definitely hard to go back to now, but you can always appreciate what it did for gaming and how amazing this was back in '97. Somehow, Nintendo had the James Bond license for video games at the time, and they definitely made the most of it. They made 2 games, but one of them was GoldenEye. When the license went to Electronic Arts, Rare wanted to make a spiritual successor to GoldenEye. It ended up both developing and publishing Perfect Dark in 2000. Again, similar to GoldenEye, I once had the thought of going back to it today, but back then, yeah, this was good and stuff. It pretty much used every aspect of the N64 it could have, included the transfer pack accessory. You plug this into the controller and you can pop certain Game Boy and Game Boy Color games in to have home console and handheld games interact.
Oh, that's
I love
nifty.
Stupid junk like this. Not a ton of games supported it, but the one game that mattered did. Pokemon Stadium. The Nintendo 64 released during the big Pokemon boom when the craze just started to happen worldwide. So Nintendo acted upon that. They had crazy successful Pokemon games on the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. Let's make some Nintendo 64 Pokemon spin-offs. Yeah, Pokemon Stadium is like taking
Wait,
a
really?
Pokemon game with the adventure and battles, putting it in 3D and taking out the adventure. You're just like
Probably about an
battles
hour
with not much
longer,
substance.
I guess.
Back then, that was pretty cool to see your favorite Pokemon in 3D, just like
Because I gotta keep working on
you could transfer
getting some
your
videos out
from the Game Boy games into Stadium.
that I've been working
Game
on
Boy games on the TV with the transfer
behind the
pack.
scenes.
You couldn't really play any other Game Boy games on the TV. with
Because I'm trying to also come out with fresh content videos instead of just streams.
With the Super Game Boy, why they made an accessory like this that let you only play one Game Boy game and nothing else, I don't know. But all Pokemon Stadium games supported the transfer pack. Pokemon Stadium 1, which only released in Japan. Pokemon Stadium 1, which is Pokemon Stadium 2 in Japan. And Pokemon Stadium 2, which is Pokemon Stadium Gold and Silver in Japan. Never liked Logic.
That's a lot of Pokemon games.
The voice recognition unit, don't you?
How's the fire blending in the hair going,
Puzzle
would you
League
say?
was just a Pokemon-themed version of Tetris Attack, which makes it my favorite Pokemon game. And Pokemon Snap, an on-rails photography game. Try to get as good Pokemon shots as possible. This was the best
Pretty good.
Pokemon game on
That's
the system.
good.
I understand that the developers behind Pokemon strongly believed that the Game Boy was the best platform for the series at the time. I'm surprised Nintendo didn't straight up force them to make a true N64 Pokemon adventure. That really would have been the kick in the pants the system needed. But I mean, it still had some of the best-selling games that generation. Mario Kart 64 came out a few months after the system's launch, and this is the big one. Easily one of my favorite games.
Thank you for
Every other game in the series. The tracks, the multiplayer, the items, the battle mode. It was all the best. Playing it now? It's fine. I mean, playing with friends, any Mario Kart's gonna be a blast, but just looking at the core game.
I've never ever had fun playing Mario Kart.
At least we have Diddy Kong Racing. This was the big holiday title for 1997.
My sister was always the one that liked car racing games.
Yeah, that was really neat. But in many ways, this is better than Mario Kart 64. The characters are actual full 3D models, while in Mario Kart they're all flat. There's an adventure mode, bosses, more characters developed by Rare. Again, how did they do this? Like 3 months after GoldenEye! And there were so many other racing games. F-Zero X, sequel to the SNES launch title. You know, with that one, you had to take their word for where you were and truly how fast you were going. Here, you get the full F-Zero experience. It is blistering.
The one before this one reminded me of that one that was referenced in Wreck-It Ralph with the going turbo.
With Excitebike 64. Of course, these racing games may not have been the most deep experiences out there in comparison to games like Final Fantasy VII and Metal Gear Solid on the PS1, but they were fun multiplayer experiences, and that is what made the N64 stand out. So many of Nintendo's flagship games on this console were multiplayer oriented, even if they held from a series that used to be single player only. F-Zero X introduced multiplayer, and so did Star Fox 64. And Star Fox 64 was a huge release, basically acting as a retelling of Star Fox on the Super Nintendo. But now on a system that isn't choking on its graphics. And the initial release included the Rumble Pack. Now, this is big. Plug it into your controller, pop some batteries in, and what happens in the game affects your controller. It really added to the experience and made big moments feel that much bigger. I'm surprised Nintendo never updated the N64 controller to have the Rumble feature built in. So many games supported it, way more than any other 64 accessory. Except the memory cards, but even then, most of the games I cared about just saved directly to the cartridge, so oops, I don't own one. Yeah, but Will to Live, but not a 64 memory card, something's not right. Anyways, yeah, multiplayer multiplayer was a big part of the Nintendo 64's identity. I immediately picked up party games instead of huge sprawling adventures when the console.
Really?
And to be fair,
We don't have
we can credit
Taco
it to the
Bell
birth of
here,
the
so
genre.
yeah.
Mario Party was introduced on this console and appeared 3 times. A virtual board game where mini games are played after everybody takes a turn moving. Fun occurs, bullshit's inevitable. Listen, I can go on and on about these games, and well, yes, they are the most balanced, they are the most well thought out, amazing games out there. They're super fun with friends. So much garbage happens. These are great, kick back on the couch, half pay attention kind of games. But when it's time to take them seriously,
It doesn't sound right.
Really take them seriously. Well, I think Mario Party 2 is the most well-rounded of the 3. I have a soft spot for the first one. Literally. There are multiple mini-games in the first entry that require spinning the analog stick, and the most effective way to do so is to use your palm. Why wouldn't Nintendo get sued? So, if you complained for a brief time, Nintendo would send you gloves free of charge and quickly put out Mario Party 2 with less hand-altering to avoid further action. But hey, if you wanted something a bit more traditional, Mario sports games started to make their mark on the 64. They were always a thing, but truly became their own here. Golf and tennis were great entries, and even supported the transfer pack, communicating with the Game Boy Color versions. And then Dr. Mario 64 came out, and it was the last Nintendo-published N64 game here in North America, and you'd think they put a lot of time and effort into it.
They
This
didn't.
is just Dr. Mario. I mean, it has 4 players, which is cool, but for the last Nintendo 64 game made by Nintendo a few months before the GameCube was releasing, I don't know, this looks kind of stinky. Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards was another late N64 release, and it looks really impressive.
Why were you bringing out games for the 64 so close to you bringing out the
Those
GameCube?
models look so nice, and plus you can inhale an enemy, obtain their power, and
I don't get it.
match it with another enemy's power. It's cool. All right, moving on. Even though Kirby was a 2D platformer, there wasn't a ton of them on here. Sure, there was Yoshi's Story, a successor to Yoshi's Island. Not as good, but an interesting follow-up. Most games were just straight up 3D, which, like, obviously, like, wouldn't they be? That was half the appeal of the system. Games were in 3D now. But looking over at the PlayStation and Sega Saturn, they knew 2D games still had appeal. They weren't
Yeah.
worse than 3D games. They were
It's
just
Nintendo, what do you
different.
expect?
So those
I don't
systems
know.
had a pretty good mix of 2D and 3D games, while the 64 primarily focused on just 3D. That isn't terrible or anything. I mean, there were still 2D games here, with one of the most prominent being
Yeah, that one really took off, didn't it? I've never played Smash Brothers though.
Smash Brothers appeared on the Nintendo 64. Look at this. This is adorably tiny. Who would have thought this game featuring 12 Nintendo characters would kaboom into this? 4-player mayhem, a cross between a fighting game and a party game. This is the Nintendo 64 doing what it does best. Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time may be some of the best games out there. The Smash Brothers is really what the Nintendo 64 was at its core. A fun machine. They had Paper Mario too. But that's pretty much everything Nintendo made on the system. Sure, there's some Japan exclusives. Animal Crossing got its start here. Like super late. It came out a week after Dr. Mario 64 and was the last overall Nintendo published game on the system, but
Oh wow.
it happened. Sin and Punishment and Custom Robo appeared only in Japan. But that's pretty much it. So I think it's time to discuss not what appeared on the Nintendo 64, but what didn't appear. No Metroid game, no Fire Emblem game. That was a little odd. Third-party support was incredibly minimal. Sure, the system got a few games here and there, but Squaresoft, the makers of Final Fantasy, they originally were planning to support the system just like any of Nintendo's previous consoles, but decided to go with PlayStation because of those sweet, sweet discs. They didn't publish anything on Nintendo 64. And then the other big guys, Capcom, Konami, they made a few things, but not nearly as much as they did on PlayStation. Sometimes the 64 would get table scraps from the PS1, like Mega Man 64. It's just Mega Man Legends from the PS1, a spin-off adventure game. Why not just call it Mega Man Legends? Calling it Mega Man 64 implies this is the definitive Mega Man Nintendo 64 experience, not a port of a PS1 adventure game spin-off of a platforming series. Also, let's discuss the 64 name. My god, why did every other game have to have 64 in their title? It just wasn't consistent. Why did Mario get it but not Zelda? Why did Donkey Kong get it but not F-Zero? Why did Mario Kart get it but not Mario Tennis? Pilot Wings but not Yoshi? It was just weird what Nintendo considered deserving of an actual subtitle and what wasn't deserving. It almost felt like they were saying,
that is kinda weird.
Just the Nintendo 64 version of the series and nothing more. Keep walking. And a lot of other companies outside of Nintendo did this, and in my opinion, it made things somewhat confusing. Like Mega Man 64 is a port of a PS1 game not called that, but Doom 64 is a completely brand new original game. At that point, why not call Resident Evil 2 on the Nintendo 64 Resident Evil 64? This was another Capcom game, the second one of 3, the third being Magical Tetris Challenge. This is all they did on N64. But Resident Evil 2 is wildly impressive. This was a 2-disc PS1 game, and they crammed the whole thing on a cartridge with not nearly as many compromises as you'd expect. This is not a lot of other games like this reported, but to be fair, this was a miracle that happened in the first place. Konami was more prominent on the system, though that's really only because they were publishing a lot of sports games at the time. They made 2 unique 3D Castlevanias. I don't like them. I mean, they made Symphony of the Night for
The 2D one was good though.
They refined a 2D experience. The Castlevania 64 games are wet and muddy. And
Who here's seen
I'm
you
saying
doing reaction?
64 games in general just don't look
Yeah,
great.
I am Anatoly.
Muddy and blurry if you're playing on an original console. Playing anywhere else, like on the Wii Virtual Console or something, a bit cleaner, but still, this era just doesn't age very well at all.
Oh, why didn't anyone tell me that the video was too low?
Third parties primarily would port over family games, sports games, some 3D platformers. Every now and then, some exclusives would appear, like the Turok series. But there
If I'd known, I would have turned it up higher.
RPGs.
My bad.
Somebody like me. Thank God. Oh, come on. Basically, there were
There we go,
only
that should
3
do it.
RPGs on the entire system. Quest 64, which the only reason this game exists was to be one of the only RPGs on the system, Ogre Battle 64, and Paper Mario. This was mainly a 3D platforming adventure game and party game machine. It did those things very well, but it wasn't a great all-in-one console. Which, to fix that issue, Nintendo released the 64DD add-on, I think. This was announced before the system
Speaking of
even came out.
Castlevania,
For a system that's not even close to
who
it.
here has
I'm
watched
so
the
excited to buy
anime version of it on
This is actually just straight
Netflix?
up called the 64DD, not the Nintendo 64DD, and these are incredibly rare and expensive. You'd have to be a fucking idiot to own one of them. Well, it was announced in 1995. It released in 1999. It was created to avoid the storage limitations of the N64 cartridges by using magnetic
Okay,
discs.
Anatoly, I'll add yours to the list. But that will probably be the last of the videos for today.
These discs were 64 megabytes standard. Like CDs were around 700 megabytes. Why even try to release this? It could do all kinds of things. It had an internal clock. It could connect online. It failed miserably.
I mean, I've mixed it up with the other ones.
It came out in Japan, so
but
like ass was delayed
yeah.
several times, and by the time it came out, it was worthless. The Sega Dreamcast already.
I moved it
The
forward
PlayStation 2
amongst
was announced. I feel like Nintendo
videos
wasted
by
so much of
TMNT
their
and stuff.
time with this thing.
That way,
Dozens upon
you know,
dozens of games were planned for the DD, eventually getting canceled. Without it, I'm sure we would have gotten way more N64 games. All these games that were being worked on for the 64DD, they ended up saying, well, let's either turn them into N64 cartridge games or wait to release them on better hardware. And that just left the Nintendo 64 with Dr. Mario 64 being the last game Nintendo made for the system. What a way to piss out. Yeah, I think this deserves a discussion on its own. If I ever own one.
I never even heard of the DD. Ever. Like, this is the first time I've heard of the Nintendo 64 DD.
Didn't live up to what Nintendo wanted out of it. For every one thing Nintendo innovated with this console, there was another that was ridiculously close-minded and stuck in the past. And while I respect it for being such a landmark console with
So did anyone watch that
Mario 64
Castlevania
I just feel like out of the
anime
400
on
some games
Netflix?
that released for it, there's only like 40 of them that are well
It's not bad.
today, and only 20 of those 40 have aged well. But the
Ah,
good
okay.
games for the system were really good games.
Here's the drawing I was working on yesterday.
Always be
It's going alright. It's still just me and Koji. But that's because I'm working on what's there currently. But yeah.
I found it.
It's going alright. I just felt like working on this piece today. So, I mean, I can load it up so you can see. I think I finished the part of me in that picture. Yeah, okay. Well, the anime is actually pretty good.
Set fire to your hair, poke a stick at a grizzly bear, eat medicine that's out of date, use your private part.
Oh, this is the one from the meme!
Dumb ways to die, so many dumb ways to die.
Dumb ways to die.
So many dumb ways to die.
I didn't know that there was an actual song.
With a fork, do your own electrical work.
I only knew it of the
Teach yourself
the
how to
meme.
fly. Eat a 2-week-old unrefrigerated pie.
Oh.
Dumb ways to die. So many
Dumb ways to die.
your helmet off in outer space. Use a clothes dryer as a
Replace the SMG4 video. Okay.
dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die. Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die. Keep a rattlesnake as a pet. Sell both your kidneys on the internet. Keep a tube of super glue. I wonder what's this red button do? Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die.
Oh.
Dumb ways to die.
So many dumb ways to die.
Dress up like a moose during hunting season.
Oh no!
Disturb a nest of wasps for no good reason. Stand on the edge of a train station platform. Drive around the boom, gets at a level crossing. Run across the tracks between the platforms. They may not rhyme, but they're quite possibly dumbest ways to die. The dumbest ways to die. The dumbest ways to die. So many dumb ways to die. Be safe around trains. A message from Metro.
That's a fair message. That is a very fair message. These songs are just nice to vibe to. Ah. I didn't know they were actual songs, so yeah. Oh wait, is that a new one? Designers. No, it's not a new one. Damn. I was hoping that it was it was new, but it's not.
It's getting to the point where I feel like
well, I subscribed while I was on that page, so
my competition in general in this company.
yeah.
I think everyone's scared. Point blank. I think people
Did you hear Disney Junior is making an animated CGI Little Mermaid show? Really?
If there is a matchup that you think
I used to love the animated one.
hasn't happened is because they are terrified of getting outclassed by me.
I'm getting bored, AEW. When you gonna give me some competition? I'm getting bored.
Kind of bored of this sport, and I'm bored of the lack of respect from professional wrestling fans. When I say take my ball and go home, I mean literally just hang it up and up the lineage of this title. Because frankly, I don't know if anybody's worthy of beating me for this thing.
Nobody is on the level of the devil.
And he said so himself. I heard the movie was an absolute flop. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I haven't seen it personally, but on one hand, I heard it was horrid, and on the other hand, I heard that it broke box office records.
When CM Punk up and left me when I was a kid, I thought my fandom of professional wrestling was over. But then I turned on my TV, and I came across a little TV show called Ring of Honor. Out walked a guy with slick jet black hair. Here comes the man who's going to defy the odds. Icy blue eyes, cool Jack Tan, incredible in the ring.
It sounds like he's got a crush on this guy. It really does.
That man was you, Adam Cole. Since I've started here, I've
Sounds like he wants to smoke Alan Cole's pole.
gonna prove to you tonight that Adam Cole does.
Oh
have
my.
a started training to become a pro wrestler. I got as much.
Oh, come on, guys. No more videos, okay? These are the last ones.
Where you won championship gold. It doesn't get any bigger than this.
It's okay. I've added them.
You became the greatest world champion in the history of that company, and that, my friend, is undisputed. So I followed your footsteps. I went to CZW, where I won gold.
It's okay. I forgive you. Oh, thank you.
I became a top name on the independents, and then I signed on here in AEW. And deep down in my heart, I knew one day you'd make the jump. And when you did, me and you would have the rivalry of a lifetime. Two generational talents. MJF versus Adam Cole.
Okay.
But then this guy showed up. This company has done everything in its power to make you cool. The lights, the music, the cool t-shirts, the big match opportunities, the girl, your own reality show. You know what
Really?
they do to make MJF cool? They ring the freaking bell.
MJF, you are world class. You're a world class douchebag. I can appreciate and understand that you studied my career, but we are nothing alike. Because for 15 years, I have traveled the globe, shared locker room after locker room, this one included, and those boys and girls back there, they respect me. I swear on my life, there's not a single person back there who respects you.
Why'd you boop? Why boop?
Selfish. They think you're conceited. They think you're lazy. You do the bare minimum to collect that paycheck and walk around with that world title.
That's an awful lot of tough talk coming from Keith Lee's manager.
There it is! Of course, MJF has to create a false narrative to hide from the fact that you're a coward of a champion. If you were a real champion, you would tell me to shut my mouth and you would fight me. But you're not doing that because you are a coward, you hear me? You won't fight me because I'm better
But
than
I don't
you.
like being booped.
And they know it.
Don't turn your back on me, I'm scary!
Looks like we got ourselves a match.
Don't turn your back on me, I'm scary! Don't turn your back on me, I'm scary! Oh my god, that could almost be a song. Could you imagine if a song of a VTuber kid just came out going, don't turn your back on me, I'm scary! Don't turn your back on me, I'm scary!
Ladies, we'll be watching because the winner is going to be facing the greatest AEW Women's Champion that ever lived.
I don't think she wrestles anymore.
Former AEW Women's World Champions. We got one who has not held a world title. Sky Blue. Tony Storm, Ruby Soho looking on. Nyla's staggered. The code blue. 2 and 3. Sky Blue did it. Made the most of the opportunity. And now she will face Tony Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship.
I never thought this day would come. Now I get to go fight for the women's title that I've only ever dreamed of holding.
Wow, Sky, good job. She beat Nyla Rose, Mercedes Martinez, and Britt Baker all in the same match. That's amazing. I mean, how many people can say that they've done that? Wow. But none of them were the greatest AEW Women's World Champion to ever live.
She doesn't wrestle anymore.
She has cheated and used every shortcut possible to try to beat me.
In the past, when
You
I faced
got debated.
Oh no, I got debated. I got debated. And everybody's drunk in the yacht to San Francisco. Come in and join the disco. Don't lose to keep on time. And I'm running down and down.
Emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
And you can't, but I dare you. Just try it.
da da. Da 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 da
Myself
da
and Jake Hager have a lot of history. We've beaten the out of each other in an MMA cage. We've beaten the out of each other all throughout the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Why? Why you always know your points?
Ring before, which looks like we're doing again this Wednesday, and I do believe the last time we had a one-on-one match in ring.
Fair enough.
I won. Nothing will be different this time. You can bring JAS, bring Jericho, powerbomb the life out of him, bring Garcia, bring the clowns, I'll powerbomb everybody. This Wednesday, Wardlow Hager ends exactly how it ended last time. Wardlow wins.
This past Wednesday, I survived. I barely beat Swerve.
Orange, he grabbed the tights too!
And as I was laying there, Swerve, your friends decided to get involved.
Prince Nana is livid. He's calling in the troops, and here they come, guys. Trouble for Orange Cassidy, and he's beaten up enough. Come on.
This full-on assault by the Mogul Embassy!
So why don't you bring all 4 of those friends? And I'll bring some of my friends.
Oh my God! It's Sting!
Sting and Darby Allin once again! Having Orange Cassidy's back!
Darby Allin, you know him. There's like this legend, this icon, you know. Sting, and I'm also gonna bring the guy that still hates you. Keith Lee. This Wednesday on Dynamite in Washington, D.C. You 4 against us 4.
Go down!
It's Team Sting versus the Mogul Embassy. Sting, Darby, and the rest of your stupid geek friends, you've made a huge mistake. Right, Swerve?
All y'all showed y'all hands tonight. I know exactly what everybody does.
And Swerve Strickland, you can tell by his face, his demeanor, that this is not over.
Orange.
I'm scary. I'm scary.
Championship is well within my grasp. Again.
I'm scary.
Darby and Sting. Why do y'all want to get involved in this? Like I said, I gave you the opportunity to join the Mogul Embassy, build an empire, do something special. Take AEW to an entire different level. You chose to be an enemy. And then there's Keith. We all know the story. Tale as old as time with Swerve and Keith Lee. But hey, you want to get involved, you want to jump back in this? Cool, we gonna squash you too. We gonna put you out of business. We gonna push you to rest. So let's just all get everybody out of our way in one ball swoop this week on Dynamite. Hoodies up forever, Mogul Embassy forever.
There was one man that told me not to trust you clowns in the first place. I know you've known Lee for a long time, but he's okay. But keep your eyes on the rest of these clowns. Nobody fights like family. Blood is thicker than water. Our tag team partner, the big man himself, my dad, Papa Briscoe.
What?
I want to tell everybody this little story, okay? The year is 2001. The very first time I met the Briscoe brothers, I pulled up to the corner of Swanson and Rittner at the old ECW arena. And who did I see pull up in this nice vehicle, this nice van? It was the Briscoe brothers. And you know what? They were so young, they were not allowed to compete legally in the state of Pennsylvania. And Papa Briscoe, that's when I met you for the first time. You got out of that car, you came up to me, and you said, Sanjay, shake my hand. You're an up-and-coming star in this professional wrestling business. And then fast forward, when we come to the farm, you try to tell my best friend,
That's okay.
Lethal, that I'm a clown, that such a 6 a clown, 7'4", 1 in a billion. Papa Briscoe, you don't know what you've got yourself into. Aubrey, let me tell you a little bit about this woman. I have felt the wrath of this woman, and I guarantee you, you don't want any of Karen Jarrett.
What was with her face paint? Damn.
Catering, or I run into you at the hotel after the show, or I catch you interfering in one of your husband's matches, I'm gonna kick your ass.
You made the mistake of messing with my husband, my family, and laying your hands on me. You're gonna regret every single step you have made since Jeff Jarrett became a part of this company.
Every step you take, every move you make, every time of day, every time I say I'll be with you.
And I guarantee you, I'm not coming to one, but I've got two. Guys, this is not good. And you don't mess with Papa Briscoe.
You've been in there with Papa Briscoe before. You felt the wrath.
Don't mess with him. You don't do it. No.
Real good for you boys and you girls in Washington, D.C. And I will get myself ready for this ass woman's coming, whether you like it or not.
You have to see for yourself.
He wants to be a bitch. He wants to. He wants to. He wants to be a bitch.
That I'm willing to do.
They wanna be a bitch. They wanna be the bitch. They wanna be the bitch. And on that note, I will be right back. I gotta go to the bathroom. Yeah, I'll take pictures if I fall in. Sorry about this, guys, but when you gotta go, you gotta go. And, yeah. We shall, have some fun when I do return.
Emotional damage.
Oh no!
Bruh.
I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Pretty sure I covered that. Thank you. Hmm? Finally. Thank you. Ah, thank you for the head pats. That's much better.
Теплое место на улице ждут отпечатков наших ног. Звездная пыль на сапогах. Мягкое кресло, клетчатый плед, не нажатый вовремя курок. Солнечный день в ослепительных снах. Группа крови на рукаве, мой порядковый номер на рукаве. Пожелай мне удачи в бою, пожелай мне не остаться в этой траве, не остаться в этой траве. Пожелай мне удачи, пожелай мне удачи.
I really like the bass line of this song. The bass line really slaps. Ah.
Просто остаться с тобой. Но высокая в небе звезда зовет меня в путь.
Ah.
Группа крови на рукаве, мой порядковый номер на рукаве. Пожелай мне удачи в бою, пожелай мне не остаться в этой траве, не остаться в этой траве. Пожелай мне удачи, пожелай мне удачи.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Emotional damage.
You have 1 point left. What are you going to do with it? Hmm? Ah! Have to wait for a cooldown? I get that.
Welcome back to Retro Rebound. Today we get into a topic that I've been searching high and low to get into, but I didn't know when it could actually happen. Then I realized this is the perfect week to sit down and talk about, that's right, the Raimi Spider-Man games. Spider-Man 1 through 3 right here. We're going to talk about each and every single one of them. Why, you may ask? If you've been living under a rock, you may not know, but Spider-Man No Way Home is coming out this week, and I thought, let's synchronize a little Retro Rebound with Spider-Man No Way Home and talk about, with all those multiverse rumors, the Tobey Maguire era, the best era of Spider-Man as far as I'm concerned. And I've liked each era of Spider-Man for their own reasons, but Tobey Maguire was iconic growing up, and these video games...
He was a really good Peter Parker.
Spider-Man. So again, my favorite comic book character, and I'm so excited to sit down and just gush about these games and this time in my life. So if you're new here and you love retro content, we do plenty of that. Consider subscribing and checking out some of the other content we have here today. Now, let's talk Raimi Spider-Man games. I want to start off with Spider-Man 1. You'll notice on the box art, all of these games are published by Activision, which is insane to think about, but they had their hold on the Spider-Man license for so long, leading up to even, yes, the Amazing Spider-Man games. They were responsible for Shattered Dimensions, Edge of Time. They were in on so many Spider-Man games, and it wasn't until they finally lost it that we got Insomniac's Spider-Man game, which of course we'll talk about in this video, but it's gone through a lot of different developers and a lot of hard times. But when it started off with Spider-Man 1,
okay.
Now, my first ever Spider-Man game, you may remember from myself and Spawnwave's collaboration, was Spider-Man 64. And what I really liked about that game was the ability to web swing and go around a level, right? And it brought me into the hero's shoes, right? And so when this first Spider-Man game came out, it was that, but almost a remake in a lot of ways. I think of levels like the subway station where you're chasing down the Shocker and you're fighting with the cops and you're teaming up to save them. You have the scene where the guy's on his cell phone in Grand Central Station and this giant rock is about to fall on him and he's just like on his phone the whole time. There's incredible moments where the Raimi movies, I think, were known for being very charming and clearly adored the character of Spider-Man and told something compelling.
Yeah,
but
they
they
did.
had these moments of just, I'd say, lack of awareness. I love stuff like this, but this game is a typical 3D collectathon where you're just running around getting new combos, you're finding secret areas, you're beating up the baddies. I love a bunch of different mission-based comic book games because it allows them to bring in a variety of hero and villains. In retrospect, I have to emphasize that, because when I played them as I got older, I was like, why can't you just focus on a couple of characters and make them worthwhile? But in hindsight, going back to them as just the time capsule they were in, I appreciate them for what they were. In the first Spider-Man game, we have it here on PS2, but on the original Xbox, if you had it on that, you actually had access to a Kraven the Hunter level that was not on any other version of the game. So I have to get that so I can have access to it. That's where I primarily played it as a kid. But when I already had Spider-Man 2 and 3 here in my collection on PS2, I was like, let me just get the first one and complete it all. But this game, this box art too, this is my favorite Spider-Man suit, the Raimi suit. Oh my gosh, you got Green Goblin here on the back. Everything about this, the aesthetic of the original Spider-Man, for me at least growing up. I know some people grew up with the cartoon, but I cannot emphasize enough. I can only groan over how great it was. But perhaps what was even better and definitely more impactful was the next step forward with
Oh no, I didn't
Spider-Man
realize.
2.
Thank you for letting me know,
Spider-Man 2
Mattis.
is one of the greatest, most impactful open world games ever, and that's sick for a superhero game to actually be able to say, because it set the template for superhero games moving forward until
There we go.
Rocksteady came through with the Arkham Asylum games, Arkham City, and really started to open things up and show that AAA level quality with a comic book character. But I think Spider-Man 2 did it first. Set in the open world of New York City. Again, very much like Spider-Man, it would be mission-based, so you'd go and see all different manner of villains like Mysterio, see Electro, all that stuff. Doc Ock, of course. But in that was an open world where crime was happening in real time. So you go around, you be fighting people. The real-time dodge mechanics were sick. Some of the moves that you can unlock, the absolutely insane combo system, the ability to web people up on street posts. I mean, there was a level of creativity allowed in this game that we hadn't seen in a Spider-Man game until, you guessed it, Insomniacs. Insomniacs took Spider-Man 2 and built straight off of it, and they made it better. So I think Insomniac has outdone this game finally. But this came out in 2005, I believe it was. 2004 or 2005. It came out that long ago. And in my opinion, there have been good Spider-Man games since, right? I think of Shattered Dimensions as one of my favorite. A bunch of different eras of Spider-Man coming together. Really cool game, really creative, and highlights, I think, the comic book nature of things where most of them are based off movies. So I appreciated that. But I think it wasn't until that many years later, I think it was 13, 14 years later, that we got something better. We also had The Amazing Spider-Man on Xbox 360 and PS3, which, surprise, surprise, was exactly this game except The Amazing Spider-Man story. This was definitive. For superhero games, it was a game that everyone tried to copy, but no one could succeed. They would only emulate. And again, it wasn't until Insomniac came through. And honestly, Insomniac took a bunch of pages out of this game's book. A ton of them. It was really the combat that was the separating factor, because Insomniac was like, yo, let's put gadgets in there, which I was always a big advocate of. Let's do more Peter Parker stuff, which this game had, but they had a Peter Parker personal story, where this game had you going around the Daily Bugle taking photos. So I cannot emphasize enough how important this game is. Probably one of the most under-discussed important games in gaming history. I kid you not. I really think this game had a tremendous impact on open world games and on comic book games, because there were so many that tried to follow in its footsteps, especially from its own series. But again, if you've played, say, Insomniac Spider-Man game, you've already seen some gameplay in the background for Spider-Man 2. But if you can get your hands on it and see for yourself, look at the building blocks this established. It's incredible. And of course, what is a Raimi discussion without Spider-Man 3? Ah, Spider-Man 3, the dark horse. Now, hot take on the movie, and it's not intentional, I know, but Spider-Man 3 is probably one of my favorite comedy films. I think this movie is hilarious. I watch it every now and then. I get a couple good laughs out of it because it's so, let's just say it, bad in a lot of ways. But I think there's a charm to it. And especially the dialogue. And that carries into this game here. Because across all three of these games, you got Tobey Maguire voicing Spider-Man. And you hear all the actors from the movies in these games. You can tell they were built for the theater stage. They were not built for video games. And there weren't great voice directors back then, because especially this game, when Peter Parker's in his dark suit and he's on the phone with MJ, screaming at her in Dr. Connor's lab. He's like losing his mind. He's like, don't call back.
Hello? MJ? What do you want? No, I haven't found out anything. Don't call back.
Oh my God. It's hilarious. And so this game is also, just like Spider-Man 3 the movie, hilarious. Why is that? Beyond the dialogue, I love that this game has these unnecessarily gruesome death scenes. Tomb Raider, the modern Tomb Raider games, have a reputation for this, where Lara Croft will be floating down a river, you're trying to dodge sticks, and you die, and you think it's just going to fade to black, but they show you something way worse than you really needed to see.
Yeah.
It makes you feel a little uncomfortable. This game has clips that still go viral on Twitter about how insane it was when you, like, face plant and a bomb would blow up. I mean, there were so many moments in this game that are just meme-worthy. But again, it was incredible. This was also a cross-gen game. I shouldn't really have this for my PS2, if I'm honest with you. This is a game that I should probably throw in my Xbox 360 or my PS3. But what's interesting is I think Spider-Man 2 is better. I really do. They're roughly the same game in a lot of ways, but I really think it was just a charm thing after a certain amount of time, right? Like, Spider-Man 2 did so much, and the music, like the pizza delivery music, iconic, right? And then I look at Spider-Man 3, and it's like, you got the black suit, and that's cool and all, but honestly, when it comes to evil Spider-Man plots, I think of Web of Shadows as one that is pretty solid. Definitely not good on the combat front or the open world front, for a matter of speaking. But when it comes to making story choices and having them be relatively impactful, like you can, spoiler alert, I guess, but it's a choice. You could kill Wolverine if you wanted to, and I think that's awesome. I think that was a cool thing. Where this one didn't really, other than the cheesy dialogue from the movie, capture what Black Suit Spider-Man's all about.
Really?
But all three of these games here, all three of them are just immensely important to me. I know many others out there, and I thought with all the Spider-Verse rumors floating around, now was a good time to talk about the Raimi Spider-Man films. And I think they just look so good on the shelf because, you know, you got, it's funny, the gold standard is gold, right? The gold standard Spider-Man 2 is gold, the rest are silver. The text, right? If anyone's ever seen a PlayStation 3, the old PlayStation 3, you recognize the Spider-Man font is what they call it. So I think these games just have tendrils that reach out to so many different parts of my life. I still have my old Raimi era Spider-Man action figures, which go for a lot now, go figure. I think it's because of No Way Home, but I still have those. I remember I used to buy the ones that had to be like flexible. They had to be able to lift their shoulders and spread their legs so I could make them fight. I could use the ones that had to go up and down like this. And I've seen action figure quality today, and let me just say, gone downhill. Oh, the movies, I own all of them physically. I own the collector's edition for Spider-Man 2 physically. It came with a comic book. Same with the first one. These movies, if you know anything about me, one thing I make pretty clear is I'm not a movie buff. Like, I like watching a lot of anime, but even that, I don't consider myself a critic. I just kind of watch and enjoy on my own. I don't try to act like a professional about it all. And so, to me, the Raimi films are ones that I rewatch a lot, and that's pretty rare for me to do, is to watch a movie, let alone rewatch them. And especially ones I'm familiar with. I'm usually looking for something new with movies because I'm always hearing how I miss out on stuff. Just charming films, charming games. And I don't know if you played Insomniac's Spider-Man game, if you could go back and play these games, would you love them? I think like Spider-Man 1 honestly stands the best chance. I think Spider-Man 2 is just too close now to what Insomniac did, where you look at it as an inferior copy. And same thing would go for Spider-Man 3. But this Spider-Man 1 is more along the lines of what we've seen from really old superhero games. Since it's all mission-based, you can kind of excuse it for being in the time capsule, where the others are looking like imitators, sadly. But they're not. They're the precedent centers. So, I've said enough on Spider-Man. Shout out to Sam Raimi. Shout out to No Way Home hype. Looking forward to seeing the movie. And I just want to share this moment with all of you here today. So, let me know what you're thinking of all of these in the comments down below. With that, take great care of yourselves. I'll talk with you soon. Peace out.
Bye!
Ooh.
That's fucked up!
No.
It's okay, guys. I've had a long life filled with fun.
Mamma mia.
The fact that Mario did that was fucked up.
Well, I've seen so many things come and go.
Like, really fucked
but
up.
There's always been one thing I'll cherish forever. And that's today's sponsor, and everyone's favorite mobile game classic, Raid Shadow Legends.
You freaking jackass.
Yahoo! We all know Raid is the free mobile tactical RPG where you can build your team with hundreds of artifacts and over 600 unique champions. Like my favorite boy here, Tattoo of Rhypine, an ice lion bird thing, whatever, let's just go!
Alright, everyone, chill.
Raid is even celebrating
I still play
its 50th
Raid.
anniversary with free prizes, events like shards, champions, and other great stuff.
And they sponsored Koji not too long ago.
Click the link in the description and use this QR code, then you'll even get a free
So I missed
artifact
that
with all the
stream.
stuff, almost worth $40. So if you're a new player, just get the game and collect your treasure here. But only for the next 30 days, so get on it quick. Now, onto the video!
But I still play it every day. It's actually pretty good, though.
It's so nice.
You thought Raid was... Oh no, Raid is not dead. It's recently come out with a new story arc.
Hello.
Now that their anniversary has passed and all. Actually, I'm a couple of days away from getting a new champion.
That's the power of the Keyblade.
Say, fellas, did somebody mention the door to darkness?
You have to save the world.
Oh no.
Wow!
Eureka! God damn it!
Oh no!
Simba. Simba.
Oh, okay.
What? Nah, Red's not dead. It's still going.
Just like a simulation.
The circle of pies.
Say, you want to come inside my clubhouse?
I need an adult.
Oh, right.
I love murder.
Oh no.
Ooh. Can I have it? Hot dog, fellas. We get to say the magic words. Miska, Muska, Mickey.
You will look like a kid.
What the f are you doing, pal? Why are you doing that? No! Oh, god damn, Minnie. I'm not kissing that.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. Why are you doing this? Should be a war crime. You wait till then make it too goofy.
I will drag you to hell with me, you nasty, dirty, sticky bitch.
The demons told me to.
What the fuck? The demons told him?
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me.
Kinda accurate. What the hell?
Under the sea, there'll be no accusations, just friendly crustaceans under the sea.
Oh no. That one's cursed enough. So's that one.
Here we go! Oh, the rails! You know it's time to...
They're ready to dance?
I don't look half bad.
No!
Why is Mr. Beast up there?
To the dancing challenge where you have to dance for me.
You die.
What a shame.
Murder!
Oh.
Ah!
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Why is he doing Mr. Beast dirty that way?
Oh god!
Oh no, not Pinocchio. Actually, there's a Pinocchio game coming out soon that looks pretty good.
Mamma mia!
Pinocchio! What happened, my boy?
Papa.
I love you!
Father, when can I leave to be on my own? I've got the whole world to see.
Not anytime soon, Pinocchio. You're too unusual for this world.
Fine.
And you're supposed to be my bitch. I mean, I said nothing.
Let's go! Great adventures await!
Mamma mia! A wooden boy!
Ice.
See, I'm hungry. Oh.
Oh, my beautiful grandson.
I don't know. Mario doesn't like fruit.
But I'm not done yet. After you drink it, you turn into Ligma.
What's Ligma?
Oh, what's it?
Okay.
Please don't have to me.
They're gonna be friends forever. Friends forever. They're gonna be friends forever. Oh, friends forever.
Right, wife. Life good. Wife fight back. Kill wife.
Oh, hello, big monkey.
I know, right? And hello again, Lucid. How was your sleep?
Freeze! Put your hands in the air!
Put your hands up in the air. Put your hands up in the air.
End like this. Then take the shot, Mickey. Goofy, take the shot. Goofy, take the shot, Mickey.
That's so nice.
I know.
What?
Never slept, just looked up at the ceiling and relaxed for a while. Okay.
Oh no! Mamma mia! Eto, sono lavato, l'abito!
Hang on! I wish. You see, there's this girl in Agrabah.
Oh! I got it! Here we go!
Get right there!
Freeze! Copyright police!
So long,
I can show you my balls, shining, glimmering, splendid.
Alrighty then.
Mamma mia! Hmm? What are you doing? What's going on here? Mamma mia!
They took my eyes.
What the damn hell? Hey, Lucid. Want to see the picture?
Huh?
Should I just speak out and what about the vid? What's on? It'll be over soon, okay? The one I'm drawing, bottom corner.
Oh, baby, don't go Simple and clean is the way that you're making me feel tonight.
Over there.
It's hard to let it go.
I also get a thigh pic. No thigh pics today. Sorry. But you can see the butt of this picture if you want. Somebody else's lake. How's that for a thigh pic? How's that for the crack of doom? Well, TBH, it could get better. Oh. But this is a drawing. You're asking for something real. It's different. Under the sea. Nobody beat us, fry us and eat us in fricassee. We want the land folks love to cook. Under the sea, we off the hook. We got no troubles, life is the bubbles under the sea. Hey, under the sea. Yes, child, it's like the sweet here. We got the beat here naturally. Even the sturgeon and you wanted to make a honey? Then make the joke. Make the joke. Well, maybe if I continued the reading of the chat, you would do the missing of it. Wait, what? What do you mean? To be fair, yeah, I did do this part as well. Or maybe it's continuing. But I didn't miss it. You didn't make the joke. I saw it. Oh wait, without the swimsuit. Ugh. What picture? Ah, yes. Like it. By the way, could be better without. Oh, could be better without the swimsuit. Right. Don't do that. No backflips on your necks. No. Cause I said so. Don't do. No. No. Don't do. Try to do a backflip once.
Oh yeah, it's me, Luigi. It's a me, Luigi.
Oh, no.
My mansion was such a lonely place to be, G. Nobody had talking to me. The ghosts would throw away the key to lock their rooms when they would see me walking down the hallway with my Hoover. It's a Hoover of friendship. My friends all laughed at me, including Yoshi, the creature I literally ride on. They laugh because I'm clumsy and I'm tall. They don't care at all. They only care about my jump. And last year Daisy gave me the thump, 'cause she secretly had a fling with a Yoshi.
Oh my!
Sure is illegal. I was tired of this Mario Land, and I'm afraid I had to force my hand.
Why?
So I took them all for a mansion tour. I said I had an extension, but on the second floor they fell through a trapdoor to a cage I made that day. And I paid Bowser to scare my friends.
Okay, Matters. See you the day after tomorrow. Take care, okay?
Bowser pranked me and started to torture my closest friends. He
I'll
made
be sad.
a giant hamster wheel for Yoshi that powers a giant machine that makes his evil wooden death ship fly. If he stops running, we all die.
Okay.
Peach was serving drinks to guys, just like in that movie Return of the Jedi. There's no chance of an escape. I may have made a big mistake.
This is the tale of Luigi's big mistake.
Oh no!
This isn't what he wanted, for goodness sake.
Toad was kept deep within a dungeon. He hasn't eaten in months as a one-man factory mass-producing mushrooms. His bomb is extremely tired. Mario was smashing bricks while Goombas hit him hard with sticks. There's no chance of an escape. I may have made a big mistake. I may have made a big mistake.
This is the tale of Luigi's big mistake.
No!
This isn't what he wanted, for goodness sake.
As for me, Luigi, I'm still lonely. I may be a little more lonely than before. And the Mushroom Kingdom is destroyed by an evil, spiky tyrant Blastoise. The lesson that I learned that day is never turn your back.
Shut up. Stop playing that song, man. It's depressing. You're depressing everyone in here. Just play the song I asked you to play.
But I don't want to play that song anymore. That song insults me.
Play the song. Or I'll kill your entire Or I'll kill your entire family.
Oh, okay, I play the song. Ba-da-bum, ba-dum-bum, bum, 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 bum.
This is the tale of Luigi's big mistake.
When you did it, you made this crunch noise. What was your back? And you couldn't walk because it hurt so bad. Oh no, that's horrible. I am so sorry to hear that. Well, I'm glad you got better. But, do you know what time it is? It's time to find who to raid. I can imagine. I've also landed in a bad way before and hurt my spine. So I guess the question at hand is, Who are we gonna raid? Yeah, Neko is live. Or was that you suggesting matters? It wasn't a suggestion? Okay, just an acknowledgement. Gotcha. It's weird because I landed like the front of my neck and the back of my legs. Oh, that is not good. That is not a good bend at all. I mean, personally, I would have gone for Pisani, because she's live at the moment, and I wanted to ask her something. But if you think Neko is the way to go, then that's okay too. Would you mind if we raided Fisani? She's a really nice person. She is an agile. Oh no. Get the agile time. It's agile timey wipe. Oh yeah, at time. Yeah, I can understand you thinking that that was gonna be your end. That's nuts. You're lucky you weren't. Slightest difference in the way that you landed and you could have been. This is a beautiful lady that I think would be a good person to raid.
Now, I think this is how I get over there.
Yeah, tall people shouldn't do acrobatics. It is dangerous.
Aha. Yep, I knew it. Feel it. Where is it? Where's my platform? And landed. Got it.
Okay, you can DM it to me. Yeah, Fisani is family friendly, so when we go over there, you're gonna have to behave, okay?
Well, at least we know where this one is, so we can just go ahead and come back when we do have it. It's fine.
She's a cutie, so yeah.
Just the classic, you have to come back later when you have the right skills.
She's very wholesome and family friendly. Which is why I think you guys will like it over there. F-I-R-E. That Neko didn't come up when I did a quick search, so.
Yeah. I think that's the right one. No, the wrong one.
Pyrussy because I'm sassy. I'm sassy. And then a couple of these boys on the end there, plain. And now I copy it and I paste. 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 Oh yeah, paste.
Hi, Rabio. I'm good. We're about to go into the boss fight.
Here's the raid message. So I really do hope you guys will copy and paste it when you get over there. And wow, we lost like half of the people we had so far. Yeah. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it.
You guys don't know what this boss looks like.
We'll be streaming tomorrow for Clem's birthday, so that should be fun.
Lovely, really. No, she's great.
Oh, quick see. Oh, yeah, no, you're so lucky that you didn't, you're so lucky you didn't end up paralyzed. Either quadro or just duo. Para or quadro. You're so lucky you didn't get either. Seriously, so lucky. But yeah, let's get this raid underway. F I S
Understandable also. Hi, Virus Zone.
Okay, getting the raid underway. Last time I checked, humans don't bend like that. No, they don't. You're so lucky you didn't die, let alone end up quadro or paraplegic.
Isn't it everything you dreamed of?
But yeah. You guys are awesome. I shall see you guys tomorrow for the special birthday stream for Clem. Yeah.
Don't you just love Atlantis?
You guys are awesome. So don't forget that. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.
I'm glad.
Okay? Now let's raid, motherfuckers. Let's raid! I bet you it was 1 inch different. Yeah, I reckon 1 inch different and you would have been proper fucked. Okay, now let's raid and I shall see you guys tomorrow. Okay? Okay.